Well, hello. It's only been 2 months. Don't panic, but we are back. It has been a very, very difficult 2 months in my life and difficult for Val as well. So apologies for not being here sooner. And thank you for all the messages that we've had saying, where are you guys? When are you coming back? Well, here we are. It is just gone past 8 minutes past 9 from London, UK, where me, Wendy, is coming from. And I'm going to bring in, I've got a couple of hosts with me today. I'm going to bring my co-host in first, all the way from Virginia, baby. And she's missed being here as well. And I said to her, we're coming on today. I don't care even if we're dragging each other on. We're coming on. And she's like, let's do it. So I'm going to bring in the lovely Val. Hello, sweetie.
Hello.
It's so nice to be back.
It is. It seems like it's been longer than 2 months, but
Can you believe 2 months?
I mean, you know, when stuff happens, it's just the way it happens.
It's been really difficult for me because I've wanted to come back before, but it's just been one thing after another. So I've not been able to. And then last week we were good to go and my asthma started playing off and I was like, no, can't come on now. But, you know, it even, you know, as I said, I might look wonderful. You might look wonderful, but it takes a lot like behind the scenes to do the show. It's a lot of energy. So tomorrow will be absolutely no good. But we're here.
Right.
We're live and we're doing, I was going to say the full Monty, but we're not.
Not hardly.
How you been? How's things been in Virginia?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, you know, it's about the same as it always is.
Yeah.
But you know, different things. As far as sleep goes, I gave up on it.
Sure.
So that's taken a lot out of me. So I'm just happy. I feel pretty good today. So
it's wonderful, isn't it, when you have a good day and you know, I've still got some more hospital tests and stuff to go, so mine's still going, but I'm here. In London, I have to say it's not fabulous here either. It's a warm day, it's been sunny, but we're not going for a bit of a good time in the UK like everyone is. So let's hope tonight we can bring a little bit of sunshine to everybody. Right. Very difficult subject tonight. You and I have both been in this situation before. We've both been in controlling relationships. This is quite a personal subject, close to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I talked about this before. And I was like, I think we should do this. This would be a really good show. Because you don't know you're in a controlling relationship until you're in it. And by then, emotionally, or maybe even living with them or whatever, financially you're kind of stuck with them then. Mm-hmm. For me it was very subtle. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. I didn't just meet someone and they were like full on controlling. It was very, very subtle. And then it would start with a comment, or it would come on with a look, or it was, you know, and I'm a free spirit. I don't know about you, Val. I'll ask you in a sec, but I'm a free spirit. I like to come and go as I please. I don't like to be tied down. But I'm also, you know, in a relationship, I also give, you know, 50-50, exactly what, you know, there's two parts of it. For me, when I found out I was in there, I was I was so emotionally involved, I couldn't get out easily, and it's terrified me now for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
How did you find yourself in one?
Well, like you said, it comes on subtle, and you don't really realize, that they're what they're doing until, you've spent years trying to please them,
Yep.
trying to be what they wanted you to be and act the way they wanted you to act. And then, once you wake up, so to speak, you think you can think back and you think, okay, I remember this time. That's what it was. It wasn't, that they cared about me or whatever. It was them trying to control me.
Yep.
And like you said, it's just little things, and at first it seems like a comment may be made or something like that, and you just brush it off because you think one little comment doesn't make a controlling situation.
Yeah.
But then when you add everything up and you put all those little comments and all those little actions together, then you can see the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, okay, that's how they do. And it's that narcissistic manipulation.
Mm.
It's them wanting to control every little aspect. And at first
Sure.
you just think, oh, well, they want to do that for me. And then later on you think, okay, I can do this. You don't need to do that. Or I want to go here. Oh, he just wants to go with me. No, he wants to go because he doesn't trust you.
Yes.
He wants to make sure you don't talk to anybody, or he or she. I just say he because um, or they make up some excuse why they can't go and they don't want you to go because they want you to be with them.
Yeah.
And in your mind, when you're in that situation, you don't really see what they're doing, and
You're in the
other people
bubble.
can.
You're in the bubble.
Right.
Like
Right.
when you meet someone, nobody shows their bad side to begin with. Nobody does. You meet them, they're all over you, they're really sweet to you, they say all the right things and they
Right.
tick all the boxes, not realize and it leads you into a very false sense of security. And I mean, I'm a bit old in the tooth for that now, but I'm not saying I couldn't be fooled, but
Yeah.
like all of us can. But I do think that as you get older, you sniff straight away. But then I know people very close to me that have met people and got involved with them. And the next thing you know, no one's hearing from them. They're gone from their life. All the friends have been gone. You're blocked. You can't talk to them. Now, I always think in a very healthy relationship, you have your own friends, they have their own friends, you both do your own thing, you come together and you have your stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
No one should be checking phones, no one should be looking at phones, no one would be saying you can't see them, you can't see her, you can't see him. That is control, unless that person of course is causing major stress in that particular relationship, like interfering or something. I think that
Well,
a warning sign.
if they see something, one of your friends is bad for you and taking you down the wrong road,
Yeah.
I can understand them saying something about it. But it doesn't need to be, okay, I don't want you to see that friend anymore. You need to sit down and talk to them and tell them why.
Yep.
And let them decide. You don't tell your significant other what to do, when to do it, and who they can and cannot speak to. It's just,
100%.
it's a true narcissistic trait,
It is.
to try to tell someone what to do and what not to do.
And I think the thing is as well, like I was bringing up some of the signs while we were talking about, now everybody on these today's on social media, you know, we've all got either Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or using WhatsApp and etc. etc.
Right.
And I, you know, years ago when I was a very insecure woman years ago, very insecure, different woman now, completely different. In fact,
Same.
someone once said to me that I'm a hard nut to crack, and I think that's probably very, very true now. I've got big barriers, you know, and you either get over them or you don't. But with back then, I was quite insecure, and you know, you see someone talking on their phone, or you see that, you know, there's someone else, and it brings all these kinds of insecurities. If you're confident, which is not always easy, if you're confident in yourself as a person, it doesn't matter whether your partner is in Timbuktu with half of, you know, the Dream Boys or whatever, or the Dream Girls. If you've got trust, without trust, you've got nothing. And yes,
Exactly.
trust can be broken just like that, but it's very, very important. And
And once it is broken, I haven't yet to see it been mended. It just, once you lose that trust, it's over for me. Because if I can't trust somebody, that's it. I've lost it.
So one of the things that has come to my notice, and as I say, is isolation from family and friends. They don't want you to mix with anybody. What's wrong with me? You know, why you don't need anyone else. You have me. All you've got is me. They don't want you to be with your friends. They're isolating you from friends and family. Really subtle, really subtle. First of all, it comes on, you talk to them a lot. You're always seeing them. I never see you. I want to spend more time with you. It's all about us. It's all about us now. All you need is me. And the next thing you know, you're hanging out with them all the time, and you're not seeing your friends, doing your own things, and your family and friends are going, where are you? The isolation, the goal is to strip you of your support network. And there is their strength, because at the end of the day, without the support network, you don't have anyone to back you up. You haven't got that person to say, hi, I've got a problem, or this is happening, because they don't like it when you have a support system. And anyone healthy would want you, even if they don't like the fact that you're communicating about certain things, Val, they would want you to have a support network.
But they also don't want you to be by yourself. They want to be with you all the time. They don't want you to have any alone time.
Yeah.
Because I think they feel like when you're alone, you can think. You can think about, different things. Like,
you have that time to
with that, what's he doing? Do I really want to do that? Or, how am I feeling? But if he is kind of in with you all the time, he's constantly in your thoughts. You can't think of anything other than them. So, they don't want you talking to other people that could possibly put something in your head.
Yeah.
And they don't want you by yourself because you could be possibly thinking about that.
And also, I mean, look at it from our mature age. Like, we're very different women to what we were in our 20s and teens, etc. We're independent women. We've been on our own. We've been married. We've been divorced. Etc. Etc. We don't need to have someone to keep us going. To survive, to whatever. It's nice to have someone to complement your life, but we don't actually need that. And I think it's harder, I would presume, I'm not saying for all women, but I would say it's harder at this point in our life to be taken in. And because if someone starts coming and saying, I don't want you talking to them, and it's me or them. Now, I've got to give you an ultimatum. Ultimatums are not good. right? We've all done them. We've all been there. We've done it,
Sure.
ticked it off. And sometimes it's a good thing. Like you got to stop drinking, because if you don't stop drinking, the relationship's not working. It's not going to go. Something like that I can appreciate. But it's either
Yeah.
them or me. It's either us or them. It's either her or me. And what happens if you pick them, and then do they respect you for picking them? I don't think they do.
No, because it gives them that ego boost.
Yeah.
And they think they can, you know, manipulate you more or control you more because, well, they pick me over them. So
I've got them.
yeah. Yeah. And
Oh,
it's sad that it took me so many years to get where I am now, because I lost so many years.
sure.
And
you
I
can't
didn't
get
wake
them back,
up.
can you?
I didn't wake up when I should have.
And you can't get them back, because the next
No.
thing you know, you look back and you go, oh my God, I've just given all of my years. Constant criticism, using that as another one that you can, like isolation, criticism like isolation is also something that starts really small.
Yeah.
They'll just say something, you wearing that? Is that what you're wearing? And it's not like, when you say something to someone like, are you wearing that? It's very different than, are you wearing that? Are you going out wearing that? Because I've had that over the years with, and it's like, I've gone and changed. I've gone and changed, and I've worn what they wanted me to wear, not what I felt comfortable in. And the thing is, we all dress for our partners. Don't get me wrong. I want to say that, we do make an effort for our partners, but they don't want you to look sexy. They don't want you to have perhaps your cleavage on show. They don't want you going to the bar. They don't want you going perhaps to a club with your friends, because, why would you do that? You've got me. Why would you need to do that?
That's the thing. I'm the only friend you need.
Yeah.
You have me. You don't need anybody else.
Yeah.
And they pull you in by being nice and good, and you don't want to be with anybody but them, because you have fun, you have all this, you feel loved. And then once you're away from the other people, they change. Once they know they have you, they change. They don't have to keep up that act anymore.
Men are using men as an example, because women are very different to men. Men are hunters. They love the chase, and they also like to feel like they won you, they got you. Where women are very, very different in the way that they do things. I'm not saying there aren't some women who aren't predators. I'm not saying men are predators, but there are women that are similar. But it's, if you've had to get someone so easy, and the next thing you know, they're giving up everybody, they're seeing you 24/7, you've got no other life, they criticize you, they're putting you down, they're isolating you, the attraction is going to go. And your validation, that valid, I want to feel accepted, I want to feel validated in my partner's eyes. If I do this, they're gonna love me. It's, I'm making them happy. Because I remember being in a relationship, and when I upset him, my gut would go. I would be terrified. My stomach would be churning. I would shake. I would do anything to get back into their good books. And they had me. They absolutely had me with that control. And I look back and go, how did I let that happen? How did the strong, independent, beautiful women that we try and tell ourselves, and every day when we're feeling bad, how do we let that happen? And I think threats is another one that comes up. And I'm going to bring Michael in a short time, so he can come from a guy's point of view and how it is from a guy. But threats, if you do this, I'm going to do this. Yeah. Or if you leave me, or this is going to happen, or there could be violence, physical violence. No woman and no man should be physically threatened, live with the fear of violence or oppression or any kind of thing at all. And if you're with someone who even makes you feel a smidgen of that, you need to get the hell out of it now, because at the end of the day, that is wrong. And there are women right now, today, as we speak, who are sitting at home, or gentlemen with their ladies, because it happens on both sides, who had to keep the peace.
That inevitable walking on eggshells.
That's the one.
And, you have to watch every word that comes out of your mouth. You can't joke around because they take it seriously. You can't, just be playful because they take you seriously to the point where it's an argument. It's a fine line, because I did it for years and years, that walked on eggshells, scared to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing because that would upset them. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want them upset. And I think in my mind, at the time, it was, I don't want them upset because they might leave. And then I would be by myself. And I couldn't handle it.
Isn't it difficult that so many of us stay with a partner because we don't want to be on our own? Because having a relationship with ourselves in the quiet is the hardest thing to do. And yet it's the most healthiest one to have.
Well, it took me probably from the time I was 16 until I was in my 40s. I was always with somebody. Always.
Yeah.
And it took me till then to just be by myself and get to really liking being by myself so much that I don't know that I would want to be married again. I'm saying that because, I've been by myself for quite a while, and I like being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to worry about what I say, what I do.
How it comes out.
Yeah. And I've tried over those years to surround myself with people who don't make me feel like I have to walk on eggshells. Like I don't have to be afraid of what I say or where I go, what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten so used to those. I had gotten so used to those little cues. I knew exactly what they were saying. They would, be like, "Oh, that shirt shows a lot of cleavage."
Yeah.
I'd go change.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean for you to change.
Forgetting that's what they found attractive in the beginning.
Exactly.
Because that's what they found you attractive. And the thing is, you bring a very good point, because if you've been with someone for many years, you might have children, you might have a house or a property, and you might have financial joint affairs. And it might not be easy to leave that abusive partner, because they then threaten you. Well, I'm not going to give you this. You're not going to have that. I'm going to keep the kids or whatever like that. So they will find an area away. And the thing is, I met and married my second husband quite early. I met him, and within 8 to 9 months we were married. Not once did any of my marriages, and there's only 2, but not either of my marriages did they ever say, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't wear that, you can't do this, you can't see them, you don't need them, let me look at your phone. I didn't have any of that at all. And I think if you meet someone quite early and they start rushing you as well into, unless it's a joint and you're both up for it, if they start
Right.
rushing, I'll be with you all the time, next thing you know, they're with you 24/7, they're living at your house or you're living at theirs, they talk about marriage, they talk about, all this kind of stuff. Some of it's good, some of this is good things. Other times it can be a really big red flag.
Yeah.
Like, get to know me a bit better, right?
Exactly.
Get to know me in my work and my good.
It's almost like they get in that rush because they think, well, she used to be by herself, so let's hurry and do this before she figures everything out.
Let's get her off the market.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think there's a difference between somebody who's very much, they're interested in getting to know you, but because a narcissist is so loving, so sweet, so affection, attention. And then you start to think, oh my God, this is wonderful. I've craved this. I'm overwhelmed of this. And the next thing you know, they turn into Prince Charming, turns into the Prince of Darkness. And they might say things to you like, I love you so much more when you're doing this. I don't love you when you're doing that. I don't want to have sex with you, but if you lose some weight, then maybe I'll think about it. And it's control. It's because sex, let's look at sex, for example. They can withhold sex or they can demand sex from you.
Yeah.
And if you don't give them, or if it's being withheld from you, it's punishment.
Yeah. Yeah. But you don't know what for.
Yeah.
They make you question yourself.
Yeah.
Well, what did I do? What's wrong with me? Why don't they want me now?
Yeah.
Why, what have I done? And, I mean, I've had people do that. I've had people, hold it for ransom and ask me if that's all I want. That's all I wanted. And, no, but every now and again would be nice.
Yeah, I can understand it because I came from a situation very similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had someone actually give me a ring, an engagement ring, because they said, well, that's what I thought you wanted. I'm like, no, that's not what I want.
We're obviously talking from a woman's point of view, and I'm going to bring Michael in because the thing is, this happens to men and women, and we're obviously talking about it from a woman's point of view, and it'd be quite interesting to hear from a guy what it's like to live with a controlling woman, because men are seen to be like, the stronger sex, and especially if they're a strong, tough guy or whatever, but at home it's a very, very different story. So I'm going to bring in Michael, who's not been with us actually since I think it was 2 months ago. It's so good to see him here. Hello, honey bunny.
Hello, ladies. Looking lovely. Y'all have given me a lot of things to take notes on.
Well, off you go.
I always tell, guys and girls both, you need to watch it. There's a lot of good information. Get you a pen, piece of paper, write it down. And, the whole control thing. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my paper here, and you're talking about the hunter. Men are hunters. I'm not going to say his name, but I had a relative, and I'd always tell the women, don't marry him. Once he's married you, he's got the prize, and he's off for his next hunt. That poor man was married like 9 times.
Wow.
But it was all about the chase, and and men do like to hunt. And now, on the opposite hand, you got a lot of older ladies that they say the cougar and they always want to bring in the cub. And a lot of women have taken control back. And people's like, Michael, what do you think? Ain't that horrible? I was like, no, let them do them. I'm all about if you can live with it and it don't affect me, wear it out. And it's like, I don't know, but you said the withholding of sex. I'm trying to read from the bottom up here. Get you a Bob. Bob will never disappoint. Plug him in the wall. Bob, Bob is non-controlling.
Bob's a good boy.
It's
Bob
Bob's a good
does
one.
as
Yeah.
he's told.
It's
Bob is a
Bob's
good boy.
You put him right in the nightstand. Call him when you need him.
He never complains.
He never complains,
No.
and he never withholds. On the same hand, withholding sex. And I told a woman one time. She said, "My husband cheats on me." I said, "When's the last time have you given him a reason to stay home?" She's like, "What do you mean?" If you hold things hostage from him and say, "I'm not going to give it to him," the lady down the street might not have a Bob. And she might not have a conscience, and she might not feel bad about giving your husband something
Good point.
that you won't, or you say, well, he's not deserving. So, and I've seen that, it's like, and they're like, and I tell them, men are simple creatures. You praise them a little bit. You feed them occasionally. You don't even have to feed them every day. But it's like an overgrown puppy. Pat them on the head. Tell them they did a good job, even if they didn't. They'll get better. And and men, and I have seen men get so easily controlled by women who do simple things. It is like they pat him on the back. They're there and just kind of whatever, and that's what I tell them. Men are very, very simple creatures, and it's like, I've had my kids, here recently. I got sick. I got down, shots in my back, put me in the bed for 6 months. And I had one little prick that thought he could just run over the house and take control of everything and didn't care. And now he's dealing with the consequences. And I told him, I said, I ain't always going to be down. And when I get up, there's going to be an issue. And even, the one thing y'all didn't hit on, controlling bosses at work. And that, you could have a controlling boss that comes in. Oh, do you want to work Saturday? Why do you work 40 hours? Oh, so you don't care about your job? There's other people that would do it. So, there's narcissists in relationships, friendships. What do you call it? Like a work ship or whatever you call it.
Michael, have you been in a controlling relationship?
Oh yeah. And I got to the point, and I've said this before with my ex-wife, I'm going to go through your phone. I'm like, well, if you want to have a shitty day, go through my phone. Ain't going to hurt my feelings. I know what's there. I've seen it. I've typed it. I've read it. And, and I always thought emotional abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. Because the internal bruising and scars are just as bad as, the black eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I have seen that a lot. And, being in the Army, I've seen guys that you would think would never be controlled at home. Quick as they go in the door, it's a totally different animal. It's like, and you're thinking, I just saw this guy, this big, mean, soldier, out there, commanding troops, doing whatever. He comes home, he takes his boots off, and he drops his head because his wife is just one of those. And I said, I'd never be in that kind of relationship. But no, it's but like I said, and you got controlling parents that control their kids, the helicopter parents, or what do they call them, the dragon moms. If you don't do all your homework, you're never going to get into Harvard. You're never going to get into Yale. You cannot have no friends. You got to practice the violin 8 hours a day. Do your homework. Read a medical book. And I think the person who would control their spouse, their kids, and their friends are narcissists. Mm. And they want to be in control of everything. I got a sister-in-law that way. When she married my brother, I lost my brother. And we'd be at my parents' house. She'd come in. I don't want to sit at the head of your family's table. Me and Valerie's about 45 minutes apart. And she knows nobody's going to come into my family's table. My dad was a prick, but it was his table, and he sat at the head of the table. Get your big ass up and go somewhere else. Fall in line. But she would be the type that had to be seen, had to be heard. Wanted every. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, when he married her, I lost my brother. So.
Val,
But,
your mic is mute, just so you know.
no.
The thing is, Michael, what does, as a guy, what is it about a woman that can make you so outside, as you say, guys in the army, they've got to do
Yeah.
a tough job, and they're these tough guys. What is it about this particular woman that they go home to that brings them down to very small size? What is this? Is this the women thinking, I need to do this to control him? Is she thinking, so I'm the boss, or is she scared of him? So she thinks if she's more tougher than him, what's going on?
I've thought about that a lot, and I think where you deploy a lot and you're not at home, they run the home front all the time, and they have took that leadership role. And when they come home, they fall in line, and a lot of times, divorce in the army is hard, because you're going to pay support,
Yeah.
spousal and child support, and if you got 3 or 4 kids, they don't care if you starve. They take it right out of your check. So spouses in the army, especially female spouses, have a lot of control when it comes to like your financial stability. If you do leave, then and if you don't, it can affect your career.
Mm.
Nobody's going to get promoted if your chain of command's always dealing with outside life drama. When I first joined the army, they always told me, "Hey, if we wanted you to have a wife, we'd give you one." And they tell you, this is just going to bring your career down. And and I've seen people, like I said, in the boardrooms, that they're control freaks, and you probably seen them there. I've traveled the world, and I always said, if you turn over enough rocks in any country, you'll find a prick. And and they don't come in any particular sex, color, shape, size, religious, but what I'm saying?
Mm.
They're very diverse. Yeah, that's what I'm trying. But no, but like I said, I've seen these guys, and some of these women that I have seen that does that to their men, you could tell that no matter who they're married to, they'd be a bitch. Like you said, withhold sex. Well, if you leave me, I want to get all your paycheck. If you do this, I want to call your chain of command. It'd be the same woman that say, hey, if you don't give me this, I'm gonna call your boss. And I tell these young guys, which I've had young guys work for me, don't be like old dad. I run towards red flags. If she don't have red flags and look like she's going to stab me in my sleep, I probably don't want it. But there is telltale signs. But your endorphins are up, your hormones are up when you meet somebody new, and it makes you like. I always called it love drunk.
Mm-hmm.
You see all of these signs, but you got these blinders, and your friends are trying to tell you he's a prick, she's a bitch, stay away from it. It's not no good for you. But you got these blinders on, and you're thinking, oh, they don't want me to have somebody new because the friend you think they are controlling because they're looking out for you. And next thing you know, you're 6 months in. You've caught feelings. You got shit at their house. They got shit at your house. Your dogs like them. The cat, whatever. And it's like, and I say that, and even if you got kids, male or female, somebody new comes in, your kid's going, if they leave all of a sudden, the kid's going to be like, hey, who happened to this person or who happened to that person? And it, and I've been there before, and it's like, holy shit, do I just give up that hoodie and that overnight bag? I really don't want to go back, but I'm invested in my stuff. So
especially financially, especially if you have
that's it.
money and property, you can't just kick this person out.
No,
You're
it's
kind
a
of got to go
process.
through the whole legal things. And I want to bring up another couple of points that I've got down here for Val, like, and yourself. So giving a scorecard. So somebody who basically says, you know, I did this, you haven't done this,
Yeah.
you've not done this for me, I'm the one doing it all. And literally like expected to be patted on the back for the smallest
Oh
of
yeah.
things. And holding a grudge. And then another one as well is using guilt
Oh, yeah.
and blackmail as a tool. So very good manipulators about making your emotions work. You know, for instance, well, you haven't done this. What about what I've done for you? What about this? You know, I've done, how ungrateful are you for me? All this stuff is going on. And when does someone realize that this is abuse and control? Because for me, I didn't, you know, I've been in, sadly, a couple, and first time I did know, the second time I did not.
You were flow drunk and got bushwhacked.
Well, I think I was just in a very different place, and I was so low in myself that I felt really guilty and bad about a lot of things. Did you find, Val, with you, that there was like a scorecard, grudging and guilt?
Oh yeah. It's hard for me to think of certain instances, except one, I know something happened and I got mad or irritated, and I can remember him saying, "Well, why are you mad? I'll let you love on me." I'm like, you let me love on you? Like, okay, you know, that doesn't have anything to do with why I'm upset, but now I'm upset over that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's almost like, okay, well, I let you do that, so you would be, you know, so you wouldn't complain about anything. You know, that's what you wanted to do, so I'll let you do that. It's hard to nail down every little thing that is manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of be in it to understand it, but you really can't understand it until you've been through it and you come out the other side and you can look back.
Yeah, it's very, very true. Because I think none of us
Because
know.
you can't see it when you're in it.
No. But I think after a while, you kind of get an image that you are in something that is not very healthy. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, you may not just be able to get out. You can't get out. And I've watched good people, including myself in time, stay in a relationship that was toxic, abusive, aggressive, to the point of it could have gone very badly, and feel like the biggest piece of shit if you were to leave. If you were to leave, then it would be like, well, you drove yourself to it, you gave yourself up on it.
Yeah.
Do you find, Michael, that when you came back from the army, and I'm using this as an example, there was a scorecard and a lot of guilt?
Yes, and like I said, you know, and even that's one of the reasons that I try to be there so much for my kids now. It's because I wasn't there for them when they was little, and you know, and they
Sure.
took advantage of that. But I just remembered I wrote something down here. You know, I have a lot of different friends I talk to. I always tell them to watch Wicked Women, and they say, Michael, you're easy to talk to. I said, well, I'll go to school for that. I'm going to be a counselor, so I should be easy to talk to.
Sure.
And a friend, she told me, she said, we was talking about ex-husbands and ex-wives and all that. And she said her ex-husband, you know, he was well-to-do, had a lot of money. He'd give her a lot of gifts. But as quick as she didn't want to help him at night, you know, to go to bed, he'd say, you know that necklace I bought you? He'd take it back. Or or if you don't want to do this for me, that vacation was going to go on, we're not going.
Why would he do that?
Because he's
Right.
an asshole. He thought he could
It's
buy.
manipulation. It's that control.
Yeah, and he got off, and it wasn't really the acts of what he wanted her to do. It was the fact he got off on the fact of the control. And and a lot of men are like that. And it goes back when they talking about being sick. I told somebody today I have run out of episodes of YouTube to watch. I have watched to the end of YouTube. And I was watching these people, and a lot of times people commit violent acts or SA or whatever you want to call it. And it's not the fact of it's the fact that they can take control from somebody else physically.
Mm-hmm.
And and a lot of your serial, or I can't even say it, your killers that are on death row. That's what when these people would interview them later, the gratification they got was taking all the control from the person. Because if you control a person's mind, body, and spirit, you basically own them. They become property.
Yeah.
And that's and like you said, when you're dealing with somebody that is the tip of the iceberg with the control. Oh, don't wear that. That's too much breast out.
Sure.
Or you can't wear that. That dress is too short. Or I don't want you to put on makeup. Somebody might look at you.
That's a common
But
one.
see, they don't explain it like that. They say it in a way.
Yeah.
It's almost like they say it to you in a way that you make your own decision to change, or it's man, that dress is real short.
Yeah,
You're automatically going to think, okay, I need to go change my clothes.
Yeah, I'm showing too much leg or too much whatever.
So they make it your idea. Just the same way as if you're in an argument with them, they make it your fault.
Oh yeah, it's all yes. And and I've heard people, like you said, subtle hints, and I've heard people just write out, say mean stuff.
But see, they don't write out, say it until they have them, or they think they do. They have them already wrapped, and then they can say whatever they want to say.
Oh,
sure.
But at first, you have to start out subtle.
Yeah, crawl, walk, run, and it's. But like I said, I've heard it progress from the little hints to. It's like, holy shit, you can't say that to her.
Well,
and next thing you know, they're going to change.
Because it says, using one is you feel beholden to them. So you meet someone and they're very, very lovely to you. They buy you lots of gifts. They offer expectations of commitment early on. They take you through nice meals or going out on an amazing adventure. You have the full use of the car or the home when they're not there. All of this can then turn around and go, well, I gave you this, right? You had that. I gave you that. What did you give me? And it's like you then feel beholden to someone because they gave me this. So if they give you money or they give you gifts, and we're looking at obviously the control side, because there are genuine people out there that do this and they don't want to control you.
Yeah.
But the end of the day, I, like you, Val and Michael, I've been there, done it, ticked it off, and so. Yeah. When you get any sign of a warning sign, there you go, hang on a minute, that reminds me of back then, you back off.
Oh, yeah.
Friendly, but you back off. And I think very much warning bells go off on you. The other one I want to bring up, because obviously I want to bring things on, is spying, snooping, or requiring constant disclosure. Where are you going? How long are you going to be? What time are you coming back? Well, how long are you going to be there? And then they're ringing you while you're out.
Who's going to be there?
When are you coming home? Like you've been gone half an hour. Like, hurry up. You've got to share everything with them. There's no privacy. There's no boundaries. Maybe they're even checking your phone, casual. Can I just borrow your phone a minute? Can I just check your log?
That's when you show them something on the phone and they get it and they look at it and then they start
Yeah.
And you're like,
No,
what are you doing? I just showed you a picture.
that's
Yeah.
it.
And they start looking through them.
But
Sure.
I've even handed, I take a lot of pictures of Poseidon and Milo and scenery, and I've had people. You say, "Oh, look at this. Oh, I can't see that." And then then you get your phone. You're not even in a relationship, and they start swiping left and right because they're nosy as fuck. I tell them,
Absolutely.
and I'm like, "Hey,
I've
you
had
swipe,"
that too. Yeah.
and I'm like,
Hang
you
on.
swipe far. I'm like, you swipe far enough, you're going to see something that's going to embarrass one of us, and it ain't going to be me.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What? You got damn?" I was like, keep being nosy, keep being damn nosy."
And do you not find they come out with the immortal statement is, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you've got nothing to hide. You've got
Oh
nothing to hide. You won't mind showing me your phone.
yeah. They
Yeah.
almost act like a prosecutor in a court case.
Hmm.
Why?
It's like,
What's on it? What don't you want me to see?
Yeah, like
oh,
why?
oh, have you been up to
In a
something?
relationship. The thing is, if
Guilty
you've been
conscience.
for a long time,
Yeah.
then I would imagine you should have your phone pretty much open. And your
Yeah.
partner, if they need to borrow it or whatever, there
Yeah.
shouldn't be an issue or problem. But then you then go on your phone and find something that I was open that you didn't
Yeah.
have open, or your photographs have gone missing.
Yeah.
I remember when I was dating someone who I actually loved very much. And I remember like I was drying my hair one day and his phone was sitting by the bed, and this message come up with this girl's name. And it said, it was one of those days when you can obviously now you can hide your messages when they come out, it just says who they're
Yeah.
from. This one was open and it said, what do you think of these shoes? And I'm thinking, why is this woman, I mean, this is when I was quite insecure. And why is this woman sending you pictures of her shoes? And then I looked at the name and I was like, hang on, isn't that your friend's wife? Why is your friend's wife sending you pictures of the shoe? I don't know. Got nothing. Don't know anything about it. Blah, blah, blah. It turned out to be a completely different woman. And he'd put it under his friend's wife's name so that I wouldn't have any suspicion.
Oh.
But actually,
Yeah.
it turned out to be his ex. And I'm just like, how can you trust somebody after that?
Yeah. I tell
Well,
them.
that's what I was saying. Once that trust is gone,
Yeah. Yeah. You might as well pack your shit and leave. Yeah,
you're going to constantly have that in the back of your head.
Yeah. You're not going back. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, oh, this person did this or this person did that. And I'm like, and you're still there?
Yeah.
Because I would be, and like I said, and it's human nature to be that way. It's like, oh, if you did it once and thought you got away with it,
Sure.
and everyone was like, oh, I'm so sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry your ass got caught. Don't lie to me. Don't. What's the old saying? Don't peel my back and tell me it's raining.
But
And
these days, there's so many apps on the phone, Michael.
Yeah,
you can hide anything anywhere.
Mhm.
And if you don't know what you're looking for, and also there can be lots of jealousy, accusation, paranoia. So, for instance, in the beginning, it can be flattering. You could be with someone who's like, it can be endearing. Oh my God, they show something, they say a comment or something, and you're like, to me, when you hear someone say something and it puts your back up or your red flag up, that is your own gut feeling or your own trigger saying to you, be aware of that.
Yeah.
And I have had some things said to me and I haven't said anything about it because I'm thinking, is that me? Is that my stuff that I've got to deal with? But it has brought up a trigger in me. And I think that's a very good indication of when something doesn't sit right with you. And I think if you feel like that over something, then I think that is a way of saying to somebody, you need to back off. Like, even if you're doing it to yourself, back off. Paranoia, we've all been there. Where have you been? What time is this? Who have you been talking to? I know you're seeing someone. I know you are. I know that phone rang. And it's insane. Not respecting your time alone. You want to have time to do things, to see people, to go out and do things. They don't allow you because they can do what they want, but you're not allowed to have that time. Making you earn good treatment. So if you do what I say, if you give me what I want, then I'll allow you to do something. And I'm going to come up to this point. A controlling person is very skilled at making you feel you've done something wrong even before you realize what you did. So you might walk in the store and they're like this.
Yeah, like I said, it's like being like
And
it's
you're
like
like, hi. And they're like, straight away, the energy, you can feel it, you can taste it. And you're kind of like trying to jump on, what have I said? What have I done? I don't know. What's going on?
Yeah.
You might have had dinner with a friend, a co-worker who's a guy or a woman, and they've discovered it and you haven't told. Why didn't you tell me? If there was nothing in it, why didn't you tell me? Because I don't have to tell you everything.
No.
I would have told you about it.
Yeah,
but
I'm grown. Yeah.
Because I don't have to tell you everything I do. It's there is a difference between respect, and there's also a difference between telling someone everything. You don't have to do that.
No, and I tell them, I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? And my mom and dad are both passed. My grandparents are passed. I'm my own adult. But but you know what bothers me more? If I'm gone too long and the dogs judge me, everybody else can judge me. I don't care.
Dogs like, who you been?
Yeah, where you been? You pet another dog.
Or the cat.
Yeah, the cat. Yeah, most I'm Hogan. I only see her when her food bowl's empty. They're pretty independent. They're a long time anyway.
See, I had that about the dog, like with Henry. My partner absolutely despised Henry. I mean, he loved him occasionally, but most of the time he despised him. And it was always arguments about the dog. I never wanted it. You did this. You brought this in. You did that and the other. And you're like, I've got this partner who I really love, and I've got this animal I really love who's like my kid. And at the same time, I'm feeling in the middle. And I'm, it was like, and then they go and tell it. They go out the house and they would tell, people about fucking dog or this, that, and the other. And you just feel like, hang on a minute, this is private.
Yeah.
This is private. And also, getting to a point, Val, where you're so many arguments, one argument after another, you just shut up. You just relent and go, whatever for a quiet life. You become more passive. You become more agreeing because you're like, I don't want to affect any conflict. I don't want to be anything like that.
They almost.
That you were in that position as well, Val?
Oh yeah.
Like
more often than I like to admit.
Well, it's almost like subtly beating the free spirit out of you, and you can't really be yourself.
Well, yeah. I mean, even the parts of yourself that attracted them to you, they don't want you to be like that anymore.
No,
because you have to conform to the way they want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're afraid that what attracted them to you will attract somebody else to you. That's not going to treat you like shit, and you can actually find somebody decent to be with. And so they figure, if I shave the edges off of her so she's not so whatever, there's still enough of that of what took me to her to like, but not too much so somebody else will like it as much as I did.
Right.
And and I tell them,
no one's going to want you. Look at you. Look at the state of you. Who's going to want you? You're better off with me. I will take care of you. Who else is going to want you?
And I've heard that a lot through the years with different people, and I'm like, damn, I'm like, a little decon in a cup of tea will take care of that, and it's like. But when you hear this stuff, and I'll say this, statute of limitations run out. She's buried and he's cremated. My dad was the biggest prick when it came to controlling my mom, and I don't care who likes it to hear it. It's the God's honest truth. Yeah. I know she come in one day. He always kept his Lipton iced tea mix, instant thing. You filled up a glass of water, put 2 scoops in it. Stirred it up. Sweet tea. Instant sweet tea. Valerie knows what I'm talking about. It's pretty good. I come in one day from school. My mom said, I won't drink that fucking tea. I'm not saying she did anything. I'm not saying she didn't. But old Earl had a lot of stomach aches for about 2 years.
Oh, I've been there, done that, ticked it off.
And I'm like, like I said, I don't know what that woman put in there, but oh, Val is
Yeah.
frozen.
Val's frozen. She'll be back in a minute. But also, Michael,
She's like,
let's take her out. She might come back. She's frozen right now. And also, someone belittling you. That's something I really cannot stand.
oh no.
Of belittling, like really bringing you down for your beliefs or what you believe in and your faith. So whether it's political, whether it's religion, whether it's a way of you're looking at the world, well, that's a bit stupid, isn't it? Why are you thinking like that? You're absolutely insane. And the thing is, it's not a two-way street, it's one-way street. I want to also bring in Val's just come in, that it makes you feel like you're unworthy of them. So they suddenly make you feel less attractive,
less smart,
and they constantly reinforce their personal and professional accomplishments. Well, I did that, Oh yeah, I do that now, and I know that person. Oh yeah, but I did this. You didn't do that. Who gives a fuck who does what and who and where? It's one thing to share, so you get to know someone, but it's like, I did this. Listen, mate, when you get to my level, then you can say something. I've heard men and women say that to each other, comparing you to their ex, comparing you to someone else. And it's almost like, well, you'd be nothing without me. I make this relationship. You'd be nothing without me. I take care of you. I look after you. I keep you safe and all that. Well, actually, that should be a mutual thing.
That's it.
Shouldn't it not?
That's what I always say. And everybody said 50-50. I said, no, sometimes
Sorry about that.
it's like
oh, Val, I've just had to. Val, can you check your microphone because I can hear a feedback on you? No. Steer the feedback. Can you check that, Val? Your if there's anything on your side, come back in again because it's giving me a feedback. It does that sometimes when you come in. Next one, teasing you or ridiculing you. So that humor's a great way of being interactive, isn't it? I was just playing with you. Don't take it personally. But I know someone who's taken the piss out of me a few times, and it was funny the first time, but after the second or third, I'm like, I'm bored now.
Yeah, it gets old. It gets old really quick.
Like, am I the butt of your jokes? Do I really have to be the butt of your jokes? Well, I tell you what, why don't you actually go and just do something else, because I'm not finding it funny anymore.
No.
And it starts to bring your self-esteem and your confidence down.
But that's
I'm bringing in JP's, who says, oh Lordy, I came into the middle of this discussion. You're late, JP. And also there's a long-term impacts of this sort of thing after things have ended. Here's my lovely gal. She's back. Hey, girl.
Alrighty. There you are. You fixed it.
Playing good now?
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect. Now, also, Val, let's look at from a woman's side, then we'll go to the guys. After sex, you've had sex, it might be once in a blue moon. Mr. Wrigley's come out, or, you've had sex, and then it feels odd afterwards. It feels uncomfortable. There's something that's just not right. It didn't feel right. And especially if someone is unfaithful as well in that relationship. And then you stay with them. I've done that. I'm sure a lot of us have done that. And then you have sex with them afterwards and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I having this? Where's my self-esteem? They've been with someone else. And what was special between us? What was the bond between us is gone. Have you been there, Val?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately.
And how did you feel?
It just feels well, I think the feeling is that trust being broken. That it's gone.
Yeah.
So part of the appeal and that deep feeling is just gone. So it's I think that's what it's like when you've lost all feeling for them.
Because you don't feel sexy as well anymore because they've been with someone else.
Yeah.
And what was special between you is now broken because someone
Right.
else has seen the bits. They've
Yeah.
had that bond with them. And I know for me it was very, very hard to actually let myself go in that moment, to actually lose myself with them, because I kept thinking, do they prefer them more? Are they thinking of them?
Well, you really can't anymore.
Yeah.
Because that trust is broken, and it's just not, it's different.
Mm.
You know, you're not able to just let yourself go anymore because that trust is gone.
Yeah.
You know, when you trust someone, you're able to just let yourself go, not think about anything else.
Yeah,
But
you shouldn't be thinking.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in your mind, you're thinking, you know, about that other person. You know, did he do the same thing? You
Sure.
know, all those little things crawl into your head, and you think, you know, what was wrong to make him do that?
Was it something I did?
But yeah,
Legit.
Am I
what did
cracked
she
there?
do that I don't do?
Yeah.
And also,
Things like that.
before I come to Michael with it, if you belittling you where sex is concerned, so say you've not had sex for a while, and they might say, and using a sexual act without going into massive detail, but you're talking about a particular sexual act, well, we don't do that anymore. They won't do them, will they? Ask them. You know, they belittle you and put you down, and you're just kind of like, well, I'm not doing it now, you know.
Yeah.
And it ruins the whole.
Mood.
And I've actually I've been in a situation which you probably have as well, Val, where you feel obliged to do it. You feel obliged because you feel the pressure of like, well, it's been 6 weeks, or it's been 6 hours, or it's been 6
Yeah.
days, and you know, what was it? What something was once said to me. Don't worry, I know. I get a bit bored of coming home having like, you know, a burger every day. I can go somewhere else and have a bit of chicken. And you're just like, what? And I was so insecure at the time, so insecure.
But I've also been compared. You know, well, my ex did this, or you know,
Oh, I've got a
not
good.
necessarily the ex, but you know, some other person did this. And I'm like, well, I'm not that person.
You know, if they're that good and that wonderful, why the fuck ain't you with them?
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's.
Yeah.
I think I got to the point where I don't like being compared to anybody for anything.
No.
Sure.
You know, after so many times of being compared, I'm just like, you know what? Go let them do it.
That's it.
Because I'm not, you know.
Michael, have you been in that position where you felt that what we're talking about? Have you actually been in that position?
Yeah, and like I said, and I was kind of stuck because I had kids. I was in the army, and you know, like I said, that goes back to, if I do this, I can lose my career, I can lose my income, and all this. So you know what I did? I figured what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if you're going to be that way, so can I. But then, and even in the army, then if they have adultery, they don't get in trouble. If you get caught having adultery in the army,
yeah,
they can prosecute you criminally. So you know, there's a little bit more at stake. And you know, but I tell people, they're like, well, if my ex did this, like I was telling Valerie, or he did that, or he did this, I'm like, well, if he's Mr. fucking wonderful, where's he at now?
They try and compare you, don't they?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
what it is to get in your head.
I'm not competing with nobody else. There's two of us in a relationship.
And the thing is,
not
I
three.
think some people have very low self-esteem. Let's look at that. People have very low self-esteem, and they try and big themselves up sometimes. You know, I've done this, I've done that. And you're looking at them going, why do you feel the need to tell me?
Yeah.
Why do you feel the need to share that? Because it's lovely that you're sharing it with me, but I don't always need to know that. And I think some people need to feel validated or confident, and as in I am a good person, I have achieved something, and it's a very thin line from those that are bragging to those that are actually just sharing stuff with you.
What is it? Is the difference between cocky and confidence, and it's a fine line. No woman wants a man that is timid as a church mouse. They want a man.
But they don't want someone who's arrogant either.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. There's a fine line between the confidence
or aggressive, right? Aggressive the way they come across in the character, because that isn't sexy, and it's
like you will want me. You must want me. What's wrong with you that you don't want me? And I'm like, hey, if you see all this and you can walk away, that's on you, honey. And I'm like,
oh no.
Watch it, and I tell people that most of what they see on here of me is 100% real. If I'm having a bad day and if I'm hurting, the language is, of course. My opinion on things when I think people are treating other people shitty probably ain't going to be delightful.
Oh my God.
Oh no. And like I said, both of y'all know me very well. And JP knows me. Oh.
Speak of the devil and he will appear.
Where's the hair, darling? It's just disappeared.
It's just under a hat. I've been out mowing.
Professor Bowers found it.
It's been a while since we've been graced with your presence, JP.
I don't know if I'd call it gracing anyone with my presence, but yeah, it's been a minute.
Now you're next door to Val, so behave yourself.
Oh, I ain't even got the sound effect for the bell ringing.
Obviously, we've got a few more points to cover before I'm going to bring Jason in for his thing. Also, there's the I'm willing to hear your point of view. No matter what you say, they either break in your conversation, they dismiss what you say. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, shut up. Or
you're crazy.
Yeah, you're crazy, or who actually wants to listen to what you've got to say. But they also can listen to what you say, and then they'll hear you out and then go, well, what makes you think that? Really? And they try and get in your head, and the next thing you know, you're like, maybe I was wrong, so there's very much like dismissing you. And then the last two I want to bring up before we go to bring in Jason in is pressurizing you to do unhealthy behaviors such as substance abuse, undermining fitness goals, constantly tempting you with cigarettes when you're trying to quit, or drinking, not respecting your decision to have only one drink rather than 3. They are always, oh, go on, what's wrong with you? Have another one. You're boring. Have another one. You're boring when you don't have that. Nobody has the right to force anything down your throat, as in alcohol, drink, cigarettes, drugs. No one's got the right. And the last one, getting rid of your hopes and dreams and your career. Crushing it. They know that you really want to do something, that it's that hope and a dream and a goal, but they want to put their stuff before it because it's what they want. And so they crush it and go, maybe in a year, or maybe let's do this first and see what happens. And it's like, hang on a minute, this is my dream. This is something I want to do. And you would encourage them to do their dream, but they won't encourage you to do yours. And also with your career, if you want to go to do a different career, and they're like, why do you want to do that for? Maybe you want to start your own business or something, and they're like, you couldn't do that. You don't possibly have what it goes with it. It's always about taking away the confidence. So losing those 3, I'm going to come to Jason. You've been listening to this. What's your point of view?
Well, I had some points, but then I existed for a few moments after I came up with those points, and now they've escaped into the ether.
Old age.
Yeah, ADHD.
Club.
Yeah, no. On this specific point that you're talking about, I would say you have to make sure that you are understanding the difference between. Because like the kinds of people who do those kinds of things, it can be insidious. It can be very subtle. It can be something that you don't realize they're doing. You have to learn, though. You can't just take like what you're saying. If somebody is telling you, oh, in a year or something like that, like don't just take that at face value, what you said there, because there are things where in instances where a person wants that person to be successful, wants that person to pursue those things. But because they have an outside perspective and they are not too close to the epicenter of things, they can potentially see things that you don't, i.e., are your finances stable enough to quit your job and pursue whatever this widget making, whatever kind of thing that you're wanting to pursue? So you have to learn to differentiate. Some of that's going to be based off of past behaviors of your partner and things like that. If all they do is knock you down, then absolutely you're 100% right there. They're probably just holding you back for whatever reason. But if they've been pretty supportive, use the context clues in life. They've been pretty supportive. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe in a year, look where your finances are. Look where my finances are. Because obviously, if you make this switch, there may come back some reliance on me, which I'm happy to do. But we need to be realistic about it. That's not somebody crushing someone's dream, but in the moment, that person can feel that they are having that person try to stifle them because, whatever past traumas or experiences or things like that, they've come to interpret those or recognize those kinds of comments or those kinds of attacks on things as stifling. So it's one of those things where I would say I encourage whoever's listening or listening to those things to stop, take a moment, try to objectively analyze what's going on before slipping into here we go. I'm having this thing again. I'm experiencing this thing again, from this person. Because it's like I was saying in the comments on YouTube, on YouTube, you have those second and third order effects. You have those impacts that last far after something's happened.
Or somebody's gone.
Right. So for me, for instance, there are things where I have been conditioned, unwillingly so, and they're hard to break out of, where the way people have treated me have carried forward, right? And don't have the same kind of confidence. Harder to get back into a place where I am I am a person of confidence and knowing what my capabilities are and knowing my worth and my value. And sometimes that leads to, when you get hit, it hits a little harder than you expect it to, So it's one of those things. That's why I talk about second and third order effects and things continuing on. We have to make sure we're examining what's going on. And are we actually recognizing the negative behavior from the other person, or is it a non-negative? Is it something that you're projecting onto it from your experiences?
The interesting thing I wanted to say with Val is that when you come out of a controlling relationship, when you come out of it, and some people don't actually realize they were in one, like they don't know any better. They really don't. I mean, going back to our parents and grandparents' generation who stayed no matter what,
right.
And you just call them the little woman. They kept keeping the little woman down, or it was the domineering woman keeping the man down.
And you can tell who has control in a relationship the way a couple walks down the sidewalk.
100%. But also you need time to get over that. You need time to not de-stress, but what's the word I want to use?
Decompress.
Because you're going to have triggers yourself. You could get involved with somebody else, which I've done, and I've been there. Yeah. And the trigger straight away come up. And even now, even to this day, I still have that trigger, and it's like, ooh, and I feel it in me, because when you've been in that, I've been in, I look back to some of the situations that I was back in that relationship, Val, like you probably do, and I'm horrified. If I actually even opened my mouth and told some of them, people would look at me and go, I can't believe you did that, Wendy. I can't believe that you actually let that happen, or you put up with that. And my answer would be, I was a very, very different person, and also I had very, very confidence in myself. And I felt like without this person, I couldn't be, you know, I came for one of the abusive one, I had come out of my first marriage. I felt a lot of guilt over my marriage ending, got in with someone who was the gentleman, quite lovely for 9 months. And the next thing you know, it was awful. And it was, what's the word I want to use? Quite abusive. And then when you come out, you've got all these triggers. Val hopefully she'll come back. You've got all these triggers. I mean, have you been in relationships like this, Jason and Michael?
Jason's a whole lot younger. We'll let him take this one first. No, it's better. But but while he's thinking, something he said a while ago that I'll world around wrote it over here. When you leave a relationship and get with somebody else, and when you come out of a relationship where you're belittled 24/7, and I had that one. When I started Viking Custom Concepts, I was told, I was a piece of shit. My truck was a piece of shit. My tools was a piece of shit. Nobody never wanted me to do any work for them. So when I went to California to work, drove up straight through and made all the money. Who was the first person to hand out? It was her.
Oh.
They're quick to kick down, but they're also quick to take the benefits.
That's not too far from wrong with that one.
And then when you leave that relationship and you get with somebody else, and you want to expand your business or you want to expand your education, and you've come out of a long-term relationship where people are telling you you're no good, your work is no good, nobody will never pay you, then you have an ideal, and somebody could be legitimately caring for you, care about your welfare and your well-being, and don't want you to make a wrong leap.
Ooh. Sorry, Val. 1 second. Hang on, Michael.
All right.
I'm sorry?
We're getting a feedback.
I don't know what from.
I don't know.
I don't have anything else on.
How? Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it. I tried turning off my mic to see if there's something coming from my end, but muting the mic didn't change it.
I'll go completely out and come back.
Thanks.
Oh, there. I think.
I don't know why it's doing that. Poor Val. Should be
but
it does that stuff sometimes.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you leave an abusive, controlling relationship, then you got somebody else that you're trying to build a relationship with, and you're laying out your business plan. Because, like I said, when you're with somebody new, the chemistry's there or whatever, and you want to share, and they could say something completely innocent, like, "Well, do you think it's a good time to bring on another employee, or you want to expand and do this? The economy's shit. You might not want to do that." And it automatically takes you back, like he said, second and third things down the road. The people behind the abusive person pays the toll for what the one who did to you. You know what I'm saying? They're unjustly.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I have based off of evidence and context clues, I can't confirm 100% with this. I can only go off the available information, but signs point to. I'd met a lovely gal when I was out at Viva Las Vegas Rockabilly Weekender. We really hit it off. And, she lived out in California. I live here in Missouri. It was one of these things where it's like, do you want to see if there's actually might be something here? And she's like, yeah, I think I do. And I was like, yeah, I think I do too. Like, okay, let's figure this out. When do we do our first visit one way or the other to kind of see if things are going there, right? And 8-hour-long conversations, 4-hour-long conversations, over the phone, texting and messaging, pictures all the time, all of the wonderful positive things.
Yeah.
She gets out here. We had a great time. And then things got really wonky really quick the morning that she was flying back. And then the communication starts dropping off. And, thinking back over things, and eventually we had a conversation which I'll get to here in a little bit. But looking back over things that she had said and kind of understanding the little bit that I did about previous relationships, things like that, some of the things that she was liking, on social media and whatnot. When eventually we did have the conversation a couple of weeks ago now, it turned into this thing where basically and maybe it was just how she phrased it, but it came down to, her being like, well, with the ADHD, I think it was too much energy. And I need something more chill. And here's the funny thing with that. She's an ADHD kid too. And if you know actual ADHD neurodivergent people, we gravitate towards one another from across the universe, and we roam around in these feral packs of people just having random conversations that pinball all over the place and are like bosom buddies. It's weird. I don't know why it works that way. Our brains just sync up like that, and we can all understand each other. So we we congregate, we gather to one another, right? We can put up with one another very easily because we have the same things going on, right? And we're not society's outcasts. We're accepted, right? And so to hear that from her, one, it brought back a lot of instances in previous relationships where I was sitting there, you're too much, Jason, you're too much. And when you have something there that you can't really help, yes, you can take meds for it. Yes, you can do, behavioral therapies and work on things. And you get things in check to function. They don't ever really go away. And there's nothing you can ever do to actually make it go away. It's not like you're curing a cold or, treating an infection with antibiotics. This is something that is there. It will always be there. It is part of who you are. Mm-hmm. And, that hit me pretty hard. And it kind of took me out of left field because it had been a while since I'd heard something like that. But I'd heard a lot of it in the past. But traveling back a little bit to prior to that conversation, when you start looking at things that they are listening to, reading, watching, liking, subscribing to, like just, because you get a notification on your social media, something pops up in your feed, all these things. And you have a thing that says, her loving a video that, Jesus, can we not ice cream, dude?
Anybody want an ice cream?
I know, right? Holy God. And his is creepy because every once in a while when he goes by, it'll get this really creepy hello. And it's like, oh my God. That just,
okay.
Ugh. Yeah. Okay. Thank God he's gone. So,
no $7 ice cream.
There was this thing that she had liked within 2 days of her getting back, where it was, this guy standing in front of a mirror, kind of getting ready for the day and trying to, putting on that confidence, before going out. And, you have the music going, there's no voiceover. You just have the captions that run across, and it's talking about, I love being single. I'm in love with myself. I am, do I miss my ex? Yes, sometimes I do. Do I miss being able to be held and all these different things like that? Yes, sometimes I do, but I love me more. And so it's all of these positive things, which I don't necessarily disagree with inherently, but again, context clues, right? And this is a couple of days after getting back, of her getting back to California, that I'm seeing this pop up. And it's kind of like, okay, I already know the writings on the wall, right? At that point. So I walk into the conversation already knowing what's really going on here. You have somebody who is still going through their process of healing and growing.
Yeah.
More than likely, or at least a high statistical probability of this being the case, you have something where, and things while they were out here were easy like Sunday morning. Like there were things that just fell right into place. Like no problem, not forced. It just, there was dynamicism there, right? They probably recognized that and got freaked.
Yes, that's the one.
I got freaked. This freaks me out. I can't do this. This is
Trigger.
too scary.
Yeah.
But instead of saying everything went really well, it went too well. And that scared me. And that helped me. That kind of pointed to me to realize that I may not be ready to take this on. I hoped I was. I thought I was. I really, really wanted to be, but I'm not there. And instead of saying that, well, with
You're
the ADHD, I think the energy was just, but be real, be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you start off a conversation with this whole thing of, you know, you're a wonderful person. You're amazing. I had an amazing weekend. We had so much fun. It was great. You're this awesome, great person who I'm so glad has come into my life. If I am all of that, give me the respect. And I've survived 2 wars, one of them twice. I'm pretty sure I can deal with some honest rejection from an incredibly attractive, you know, fun woman that I get on famously with, than getting fed an excuse.
Val, doesn't that sound familiar? Like that would be my conversation with Val recently, because I was in a relationship and literally 9 months of it and never argued, never had a disagreement, got on incredibly well. But every couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months, they'd end it. I can't do this, or it's too good. The bubble's going to burst, or
right.
I can't.
Pessimistic.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And it was like, what confidence you had at that in this relationship. It's going somewhere. It's lovely. Right. Slowly starts to go, oh God, they haven't answered their text message. Oh my God, they haven't answered their phone. Who's got the control in that? They have. They have the control. They're taking it from you until you actually turn around and go, I can't do this.
Well, I think that once you've been in a relationship like that, some of us more than one, if you do find a good relationship, you're constantly waiting for that other shoe.
Absolutely.
You constantly wait. You don't get too comfortable. You don't get to the point where you can just relax, because you're constantly waiting. What am I going to do to make that other shoe? You know,
right?
And you think, okay, this is too good to be true because they haven't done this, or this yet.
Right.
You know,
but it's coming. I know it's coming.
But it's coming.
And
I want to be ready for it. So I've got this wall up and I don't want to let myself get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Because the minute I get comfortable, it's going to happen.
You know, most of the time the women will tell you, oh, it's not you, it's me. She said, no, it's you. You just way too much. You know, I feel bad for that.
Which was hilarious, considering the fact that I know, because of our conversations, she had gone for years being treated for ADHD herself. It's like, you know what this was like. You knew what you were walking into this with me. We've had these conversations. Like, and now admittedly, because, you know, hey, call a spade, you know, when you see it. Be honest about it and realistic and objective. My energy was a little off because I was nervous and excited. And instead of taking a look at, you know, and when I brought that up, because I was like, you know, in my defense,
the whole situation.
She had a hard rule that she had mentioned before she'd ever come out. She said, once I've made my mind up about something, that's it. So, like, you can't do the whole try to win me back, try to do all of this stuff, right? And I'm like, that's understandable, because somebody who's been through a lot of repeat things, where you have the person who, you know, leaves them for somebody else all the time, does the things, then comes back, right?
Hands up.
And that's not speaking to the people who have like the confidence or fear issues, and they have to back off for their own personal emotional safety, you know, and then
Right.
come back to revisit, right? Because they got to work through that. We all have those fears, we all have those insecurities that crop up,
Yeah, we
right?
do.
But it's like, I'm also a big respect guy, right? Like, you know what? And I told her, I said, no, I understand that. And you won't have to worry about me trying something like that if this all goes south. All right. Because it's just as bad on me as it is on the other person. If you're trying to beat your head against a brick wall, that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you all, but I never want to beg somebody to come back to me.
Oh no.
Well, there's that too, but there's a difference between begging and
Don't say
defending
please.
/ arguing your case.
Oh no.
I have-
Well, yeah, but you know, I want
Don't say
people. I
defending your
want
case.
someone to be with me because they want to be, not because
Yes. Absolutely.
You know.
But if you have someone who has been through traumatic things, and
sure.
they
Well, that's the difference.
right, and that's kind of what I'm getting at with her, with her experiences and things like that.
Okay, Jason, I know where you're coming from, because you try and talk to them and go, but hang on a minute, let's look at this rationally. We
Right.
get on really well. We don't argue. We don't fall out. Sex is really good. We love spending time together. Blah 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 blah. And the next thing they're like, yeah, but no, I just don't feel I want to be in a relationship. And you're like, well, did you want to tell me that like 9 months ago when we first got in a relationship? And why are you looking? Because
But I think that's a very bad excuse.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It is. It is
I
a
think
much
it's a
better
go-to.
reason to say I'm not ready to be in a relationship and be committed than it is to feed
be
some sort
honest
of
on the way
line,
in.
because you're trying to soften the blow, and yet in the process you're actually insulting the person, you know, or attacking them. Like, let's rethink this. And like, honestly, and it sounds dumb, and I know you're going to give me flack for this, Wendy. But it's one of those things, like, and we have not talked since that day, right?
Yeah.
That we had the conversation. I had photos, the professional photos they do. Like, we went to the St. Louis Arch and we got photos, you know, in front of the green screen, and they put the whatever thing you're seeing behind you, you know, they edit the photo like you get at the amusement parks or the whatever, right? And I was like, hey, you know, I've got these photos. I was going through, cleaning things up, just trying to organize some stuff. Do you want the digital copies? And she was like, oh yeah, no, that'd be great. I'm like, okay, I'll get them to you, no problem. And I send them to her, right? And those get the heart emoji reacts after she had stopped hearting pictures if I sent selfies or something like that in, you know, the week between her leaving and you know, us having the conversation. So it's kind of like, that's interesting. Understanding to some extent what she's been through, and having at least a reasonable idea of the kind of person she is, there is a part of me that, you know, after a bit of cooling off time, come back and be like, hey, this is not a bid. This is not an argument. This is not a fight for something. But I want you to know, for you going forward, because whenever things like this happen, there's a frag pattern. Remember, it's not just you. There's the other person there. But when you said this, here's the impacts that it has. And so instead of doing this, whatever you choose to do, whoever you choose to be with, whatever, just tell them, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. I still need this time to be single and get through things and find myself again. You're awesome. You're amazing. Maybe it's something we can revisit later if we're both in a better place and things are synced right at the right time. You know, I'm not opposed to that or whatever, or, you know, hey, whatever other thing they want to throw in there, but be honest. Just be honest.
Yeah.
Just be real about it. And don't say something where you're blaming something they can't control, and neither can you, because you got it too, Missy.
But a lot of people
Because
don't want
I don't
honesty,
want that person to go through. There's two reasons. I don't want a decent person going through life doing that and having the fallout that happens from doing that on themselves. But I also want to minimize the frag pattern around that grenade that goes off and have other people have to go through and feel what I did.
Yeah,
But,
but
in
most people don't want the
comparison
truth,
to
though.
that, they know that you're thinking about them. I hope she doesn't go through this. I hope she doesn't do it to anyone else. What about you? You
That's it.
have been put through it. You're
Mhm.
the one who's been really excited, and then you've had to calm down again.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when they ghost you, or they start going quiet, or they
Yeah.
reduce the phone calls, you know your energy smells straight away. There's something not right here. And
Right.
you know what I got for that? Well, you know what I'm like.
Yeah, but they don't want the truth. When you call them out with the truth, they don't want the truth.
But that's
They-
the thing.
they
The
don't, and that's the thing, though,
truth
is-
is what the truth should be
Yeah.
there from the very beginning.
It should.
Yep.
It absolutely
Yeah,
should.
And
they
if
don't wanna
you
hear it.
if you don't think like that you get along with that person, if you
Mhm.
just if the way they eat makes you want to kill yourself, I mean,
Why
just
does this
come
sound like
out
a
and
personal
say,
experience, Val?
no.
We should
Yeah.
explain. Do you have a
No,
problem with hearing
I
people
didn't feel
chew?
that way at the
Is this-
beginning. At the end, I felt that way.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
But I mean, if
truly made her
if
physically
you just
sick.
cannot stand the fact that you just don't want to be with them, just
Yeah.
tell them.
Right.
But
Just
but
say, okay,
Yeah.
look, here's the thing. Okay, we got along for a while, and it just ain't working for me.
Mhm.
I hope you have a great life, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go.
Oh yeah, no, and it's having to. And that's,
It's so much easier.
it
But
is. It's easier on everybody.
So many people out there, like there are so many women and so many guys on the dating sites right now or in dating life who will go, I was chatting to someone for a while, and then 2 weeks you're chatting and you're messaging each other every day. Next minute it's just hello, and then they haven't even ghosted you, they haven't even blocked you, they just
No.
do
Right.
are you
They-
dead? The thing is,
Uh.
do controlling people know that they are controlling, and
Oh,
do
yeah,
they
absolutely.
realize their behavior, what effect it has on you? Well, some may say they rationalize their actions as in, I'm doing what's right for them, or they need this. But a really interesting point I wanted to bring up before we start to close this one down, what is the root cause of being a controller? Why does someone feel the need to control? And it's a very it comes from a very unconscious place. Sometimes it's an anxiety. I have to be in control. Now I can take this because I like to be in control because it makes me feel safe, not in relationships,
Right.
but in life.
Yeah.
So this has got to be done a certain way. That's got to be because it makes me feel safe. And if I have anxiety, and if I don't do it, if I get on a train and suddenly there's loads of people coming at me and I haven't got my chair and everything's right, I'll get anxious. Control makes us feel safe, and we have a strong desire to control the surroundings and other people to keep a sense of order, because if I'm in control, you can't hurt me. If I'm in control, you can't pull the rug from underneath me. If I'm in control, it's all safe. And so a lot of this comes from certainly where anxiety is concerned. It can come from a mental health condition, obsessive compulsive behavior. It can come from someone who comes from a background of where there was no control, or they saw one of their parents controlling another. And also a personality type C, who's very controlling, both of themselves and others. They don't like things to get out of hand, and they may appear stoic because they really don't want themselves to display a lot of emotion. So they keep it all in, they keep everything hidden down, and absolutely it's their way of feeling safe. I think all of us here understand anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh,
Feeling not good enough for somebody, feeling completely useless in a relationship, and also Does trauma cause control? I'd say it does, Val, wouldn't you?
I think to a certain degree, yeah. But I also think that people who have those, I don't want to say problems, but those, those types of things are different as far as they act different, and you can almost tell the difference between the people who cannot necessarily help it, and a narcissist who
Asshole.
who just feels like they deserve control over things. Like they're usually those arrogant people who, well, my way's the best way, so that's how we're going to do it.
Yep, I know it all.
And so I think there's
Know it all doesn't necessarily
You can tell
indicate
it's different.
narcissism, though. That's
no,
one
no,
thing.
that's what
Hey.
I'm saying. I
Yeah.
feel like you can tell the difference between someone with these anxieties and all this, plus they don't act necessarily like the narcissist.
Right.
They don't, everything has to be my way because it's the best.
And it's my way,
Um,
or the highway.
Exactly.
Right.
And
But
it's about power, isn't it, Michael?
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Me and Jason both comes from a background. I hang mine on the wall. It's a different life. You know what I'm saying? But that still helped make me me. But a lot of times when they give you 240 individuals and you have to be in control, and you don't really want to take care of it, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders to command and control a room and other people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and then we was talking about, when these guys come home, the reason their wife is so easy to control them, it's been rolling around in my ADHD. They're probably so tired of being in charge and in control, they willingly give it to somebody else.
Bingo.
And
But
and I watched the parade yesterday, and I was sitting there and I was pointing out, and I was like, look at that guy. He's old and grizzled. You can tell that he's been through some stuff. And you see the fresh-faced young soldiers, and they're like, oh shit, I am so happy to be here. Oh, look at my experience. And you can see the other guy, he's up there walking, he's taking it in the back of his mind. If one of these guys screw up, I'm going to get,
It's my ass.
yeah, boot the ass, and I saw that. And I said, and which was a narcissist in the army and assholes? Absolutely. Then you got other guys like me and Jason, the good guys that just try to keep their head down and do our job.
Well,
But I feel like you have to have, especially for people like that, for anyone who is constantly has to be in control, they should have that safe space where you can let go of it and you don't have to be in control.
Well, that's
And-
you're
and
absolutely right
a
on
lot-
that one.
And a
You
lot of people
need it.
don't have that.
Yeah.
But I think, if you're in a relationship, I think either side should be able to lose control sometimes.
Yeah.
And the
Mhm.
other person is there to help.
It's very liberating to be able to give control to
yeah.
somebody else. And let
You've
them
got
carry
to
it.
you've got to feel safe enough to be able
Exactly.
to lay down the yoke and to open up about things, about your anxieties, about the things that maybe drive you to control more of your environment so you feel safe.
And I think that will help both sides.
Right.
Because it will give them
it would give kind of thing.
it would give you that opportunity to let go and lose control,
Yeah.
but it would give the other one opportunity to realize why you do that to begin with.
Well,
Michael
yes.
came up with a very good point. I know someone, and this is quite a funny point, I guess, but they're very busy in their life, very, very important job, lots of money, constant people taking care of, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But in the bedroom, they don't want to have control.
They want to give it away.
They want to give that control to someone else. And coming from someone who comes from more of the dominant side of things, I understand that, because I find it easier to be in that position than be the submissive. And that's a whole different contact. But using that as an example, what Michael was saying, sometimes you're right. These people that are in these heavy jobs, or they've got a lot of pressure and stuff, they don't want to take control. They come home and go, you do it. It's far easier if you do it. And then as time goes on, it just becomes a habit. What does a controlling person want? It's power. It's all about power. It's superiority. They might like to control others. It helps them feel safe, and they feel validated, worthy, and valuable because it gives them power. Maybe the trauma that's coming along is contributing to it. It could come from betrayal, abandonment. No one's doing that to me again, so I'm in control from now on. I know a lady who I love very, very much, and I would say she's one of the most strong, independent, beautiful people I know. And I have admired her for many, many years, and she has fed it down my throat many times. Wendy, you're a strong, independent, beautiful woman. And now she's in a very, very different place herself. And it breaks my heart to see that. And all I would say to everybody, if you're in a relationship where you feel controlled, manipulated, scared, it's called abuse. Because any kind of control which is not agreeable with both of you, and it's not word, come to it, the bunnies, it is abuse, and you are with an abuser. Because in cases where controlling and manipulative behavior is used to harm, intimidate, or dominate others, especially where it's family or personal relationship, you are an abuser. And this behavior is often a pattern of abuse which has come down the line. Like Michael would probably recognize this, given his family background. Was your father quite an aggressive guy, quite a violent guy with all of you, and then would be quite intimidating with you?
Oh yeah, and like I said, and I tell them, it is left up to the individual to pick what road and path they want to go on. And I went into a career that, and I tell people, violence of action. We're taught that. And everybody's like, oh, you take to this well. I was raised with it, and I'm like, but then when you get older, you look at things and you're like, do I want to continue this pattern of being a prick, or do I want to help, people I can? Do I want to be known as, oh, I don't want to go around that guy, or this is a decent guy.
Sure.
And here lately, when things happen here with me, people that I hadn't even spoke to, they caught wind of it, and they're pissed, and that tells me that I picked the right path. Because if I was going around being the way he was, they'd been like, well, fuck him, served him right. But that tells me that I'm somewhere in my life and I picked the right path, because people who heard for it was like, that's not right. And like I said, and I tell people this all the time. You have choices in your life, and everybody's like, oh, I cannot help but do this. Yeah, you can. You can sit down and make a conscious effort. Like I said, there's drugs. You know what I'm saying? And I woke up the other day watching YouTube. They said if you do enough microdosing, Jason, it will rewire your whole cortex. Not that I'm saying do drugs, but you know what I'm saying. But that was on YouTube. I was sleeping to it.
That's looking at what you're talking about there with the microdosing, rewiring. That's with the things like psilocybin microdosing, ivermectin, not ivermectin. I'm sorry, ibogaine, and not ashwagandha, ayahuasca. Like those things are all showing to have, immense healing and rewiring capabilities within the brain.
Trauma, PTSD, and a lot of traumatic things. And now they're starting to push that. So, and I tell people, they're like, well, I'm this way because I was abused. I was this way because I have PTSD. There is alternative medicine that is out there, but
you may have to go to other places outside of the U.S. if if you're watching from the States to do it. But it is out there.
Yeah, it's it. So I tell them, if you choose to be a bitter old prick and throw rocks at kids on your grass, that's on you.
Sure.
But a really nice guy told me one time, an old vet. He said, Michael, take care of the kids
Mm,
and make sure nobody hurts them, because them are the ones that's going to push you in your wheelchair and smuggle you booze into the nursing home.
mm.
And the older I get, I just turned 53 on June the 6th. My hair's gray, my beard's gray, my back hurts. And all these kids that I've been good to and looked after over the years, they're like, hey, Pops, you need a hand. My Facebook messenger's like,
The trash cans.
oh,
Thanks.
hey, happy Father's Day. And that tells me that I've done something right. So, and Alexa is telling Jason to go empty a trash can. Yeah, boy, it's still control. AI, the AI woman in the wall tells Jason what to do. But no, it's
Well, I
like
always say thank you.
it's it.
I ask
Hey, I
questions.
tell you what, you piss Google off here and you won't find nothing. They'll rearrange your pictures and all that. But no, like I said, there's options that you can change,
Mm.
and so
It's a
that's what I'm telling
choice.
you. It's a choice. And a lot of people who want control are egomaniacs. And like I said, it's not.
And it's exhausting. I don't know
It
about you,
is.
but being in control all the time is exhausting.
It is.
And
Yeah.
it does affect you,
Oh, yeah.
because you can't let the reins down. You can't,
Oh,
it turns you into someone that's not very nice. And
that's it.
there's a question, can someone be controlling and still love you? Probably absolutely not,
Yeah.
because love means trust, and trust means no need for control. And if
Only-
someone is in your life constantly trying to pin you down and keep you in place, you're probably in the wrong relationship.
What is it? Consensual control with a safe word is the only control that you should have.
I hope that we've covered. It's a big subject, and we've only got a short time to cover it all. And also, obviously, it's our first time back in 2 months, because it's been terrible. Honestly, I feel like I was, this has happened, that has happened. It's just like, okay, enough now. I want to get off the train. But one thing I'm hoping to do now, Michael's back in the land of feeling better, which is lovely to see you like
Thank
that, is to get on with Wicked Histories and Wicked
Yes.
Diaries, which we've been trying to do for so long. So
For 2
I think
years, we're a little slow.
we will
But
actually do that. So that would be really interesting, because it's all going to be about things like people like Henry VIII, Jack the Ripper, all kinds of historical things, not paranormal things so much, but historical things, which is what we've been wanting to do
And
for a
I
while.
was telling Wendy the other day, if the VA ever hurries up and gives me my back pay, there's lots of places. And quick as I told her, I said, who was the woman or the king's wife that got put to death that was holding the dog under her?
Well, it wasn't the King's Wife; it was Mary Queen of Scots.
Yeah, Mary Queen of Scots. And quick as I told her, I said, oh, the little dog under her skirt. She's like, oh, it's this, and this. And I told her, I said, it would be so cool to go out and goes. And that's like when I first met Wendy on Valerie's show. She's talking about how dark and bloody and twisted the history is from the UK.
Come to England when we're called.
And I'm like, holy hell. But and even here in Jamestown and around Virginia here, we had the Battle of Kings Mountain, and which is really funny. They said, oh, we know Kings. No, we took care of that a long time ago. Some guys was drunk in a pub and said, oh, he said what? And they named the mountain after him. He's still there. The Battle of King Mountain, and they come from like the area I'm from. So, but like I said, the Wicked history part, but the Wicked family has just been kicked. The whole crew,
Yeah.
Sick, health, and all this, and it's
I
like,
know. Well, Ken was off for ages,
it's
and then
poor KB.
Scotty, poor Scotty. I mean,
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
him too. Yeah,
experience.
Yeah.
Robertson,
Guy can't catch a break.
no, yeah. Oh no, but he got a lot of stitches though, right in his leg. I seen the picture and I'm like, holy shit, that looks like a car wreck.
All of the crew. I
Yeah,
feel like it's been a curse on all of us, because Val's had health issues. Michael's been really ill. We've not been able to. And people go to us, well, when are you coming back? It's been a while, and we're desperate, but it obviously to come back. But it's just been really, really difficult.
IV. Yeah, had to come back holding that IV.
Now, Val and I will be back next Sunday. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Nothing will happen. Val and I will be back next Sunday with another fabulous subject. Ken, is he coming on this week? Val?
I don't know yet.
I was asked today about him.
And he usually tells me the night before, so.
KB's like,
And are you doing any of your shows this week at all, Val? Are you ready to come back?
Well, next weekend, I'm planning to go to the Bigfoot conference in Wares Cave, Virginia. It's possible that I may do Saturday sometime, just from there.
Yeah.
May do a little one from there.
how far is that from us? Because Terry called me.
About
Asked
3.5 hours.
Oh, no. Terry's on his own. Terry had to protect himself from Bigfoot.
Yeah, he it's about an hour and a half for Ken to go up. And then for me it takes about 3.5 to get there.
Yeah, Lord. Because he
So I'll probably go up there Friday morning and come home Saturday night.
Yeah.
So it depends on my show.
So will you be here on Sunday for Wicked
Yes.
Women?
I'll be back Saturday night. I'll come back Saturday night.
Cool. And Jason, it's lovely to see you. We've not seen you for a while, and we used to see you on Scotty's show, and because I understand how difficult it is for Scotty to, he's been through such. He's such a warrior that I honestly thought he was going to die. I honestly thought that man was going to die, which would have heartbroken me because I've known
Or at
him.
least he stands a leg, but
that's it.
Looks like everything's going well. So
Well, I said to him, "Don't you dare die." And I said, "I'm trying to get over there. Don't you dare die before I get over there."
You are not allowed.
That's what I said, you're not allowed. And also the thing is as well, Michael talks about coming to here and seeing the history. I want to come out there and see your beautiful country and spend loads of time going around the historical.
What is it? Don't go into the Smoky Mountain. There's critters there. I woke up to that having nightmares today on YouTube. That guy's like, "There's creepy crawlings in the Smoky Mountains." I'm like,
what's that name of that place that people say don't look out your curtains at night if you hear a noise? What part is that?
Oh, that's a Val question. I don't know. Hey,
I don't know. Probably anywhere in the mountains.
You could come to Missouri and we could try to go see the spook light.
Yeah, the spook light. No, but we do have a lot of history here, and there's a lot of dark history. Like you got Bell Witch, down in Tennessee, which is not too far.
Tennessee, yeah.
Then you got Sisson Ball Tunnel.
Terry Pitt. Damn, they're on. Well, we've been on for a while, actually, Terry. Where were you? Ken, let me put up the code. County Ken can't come on. Let me just get this for him.
I've sent him 3 different things, and he still can't. So
can he not see it on here if I send it like this? Can he not see it there?
He should be able to copy and paste that. But no, it's what I'm telling you. Things are getting a little more cheaper to fly or whatever, but what really, from what I've been looking at, the prices come down. But before Scotty got sick, it was me, you, and Val and him. We was talking about different shows and what was coming up and all these plans. And I remember you said it was good that we could all get together and throw ideas around. And next thing you know, I'm looking on Facebook, and Scotty's got a damn zipper from his crotch to his ankle.
Right.
And I'm like, holy shit, when did that happen? I know I've been sick and I sleep a lot.
Honestly, when I saw his leg, I was like, well, first of all, I thought he was going to die quite a few times, especially he and I had the same virus at Christmas time. I ended up in hospital.
Oh, didn't he have the thing down his throat?
And it was awful. And I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful that Ken got over. Well, he's still with us, and that Scotty is still with us, and Michael and myself and Val, hopefully on the mend. Jason, you seem to be the only fit one between us.
That's it.
I'm just gonna
physically anyway.
Yeah, I like the shirt. We had a blast because I want you talking about the history and stuff.
Oh yeah, the Atomic Museum.
That you can only go out there to Ground Zero like twice a year.
Yeah,
and I looked it up, and I'm like
Trinity Test Site. Yeah,
and they said, "Oh, you can pick up pieces of the bomb." I was like, "Why would you? Why do you want to go in the dark? It's pretty cool. I'd like to walk around."
That's not quite how it works. I mean,
I'm like.
stuff does get radioactive. It's not necessarily that radioactive, but
I honestly do not need to take any chances.
Any more
I
radiation?
can't remember that. I can't remember that forest where people live, and if they hear a noise outside, they don't lift the curtain or anything. It's near, not far from you, Michael, because you told me you've driven through it before. Something, but
because we have the Smoky Mountains.
it's the begins with A.
Abingdon.
What?
It begins with A. I'm sure it is. I know if I got my history book out, I could show it to you, but I don't know.
begins with an A.
I know. I know
It's not
Michael.
the Appalachian.
That's the one.
The Appalachian Mountains.
Appalachian?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the one. I want to see those.
they run from, what is it, Georgia, all the way to Canada.
You know where they
Oh,
actually
dude, they go all the
Yeah.
way down into
So like
Tennessee,
Alabama,
Kentucky,
Georgia,
northern Alabama.
Yeah,
But did
we
you
live at the foot of the Appalachian Mountains, so
But did you know that Scotland, those
Yes.
mountains, that they're connected to Scotland?
Same
We've
rocks.
still got some of those here in our country. Yeah.
If you took everything and did the Pangea landmass, you would find that a lot of those mountain ranges in Scotland would continue through into the Appalachians.
That's the reason the people who immigrated here from like Scotland and Ireland and the UK came over, and they're like,
that's why there's so many of them in Virginia, West Virginia, like all of that stuff, because it's very familiar.
It looks like home without a king that tells me, you know what I'm saying? It's like
that would be my family.
Mine too. Like I said, and I tracked mine back from the Mayflower over. Then on my mom's side, they're out of Germany, and that's what I told people. This sickness has showed me. I want to know where I came from. I want to know who to blame. I want to go stand over the grave and say, "What did you do to me? What happened to all the lords and ladies? Why are we all crooks and criminals here?"
Britain isn't the country it once was.
No, and that breaks my heart too.
And it's very depressing, sadly.
And
literally, I know your neighbours next door are literally in the same predicament themselves. It's been so lovely to spend some time with you. It's just gone 23:13 over here, so my time is running down on Wicked Women. But I've had a great time tonight. It's fantastic to be back.
It is. It's good.
Isn't it,
yeah.
It's so nice because we were like this. Are you well enough to do it yesterday? I think so.
Are you okay?
Are you okay to do it this morning? Then we went to this afternoon before I even put the promo out, because now I'm too scared to put the promo out because I put the goddamn promo out and then one of us is like, oh no, I can't do it. So, and obviously like having Michael back as well. Michael, you look so well and you look amazing. It's so nice to see you looking like this.
Like I said, the only thing it took was to get pissed off and get my blood pressure up.
That's all it took. That's usually what it takes.
And I've had people tell me that.
Time.
Yeah, you want to get over being sick and depressed? Have somebody steal your truck.
Your bits and pieces behind you as
People
well.
can do a whole lot when they get mad.
Oh yeah. Oh, I told him. I said, you know what? I said they should have left me the hell alone. Me curled up with them two dogs, listen to my birds, just want to rot and you just rot in this bed and watch YouTube. I'm not bothering nobody. And the first time in 7 months I've been out of this house, Michael and a friend, got me tickets.
Had to light a fire under your ass.
And when they come up with the idea for my birthday, because I'm 53, I'm not getting any younger. Still, I was gonna say still handsome as ever, but that's bullshit. I looked in the mirror a while ago when I was shaving. I was like, who's that old guy? And they said, if we don't get him out of bed, he's just gonna lay there and give up. He's never been this sick before in his life. He don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, and what really irritates me about that, they made the plans and they told the one that got my truck, do you want to go with your dad to celebrate his birthday over here and see, supposed to be this cowboy, Brentley Gilbert, Colt Ford. I don't know if you've ever, Valerie and Jason, that's what I'm talking about. Great show. Oh no, I don't want to go. Well, stay here and make sure my dogs are taken care of. Can't do it. One job. And, I think that's, it's the disappointment that really pisses me off. Then the whole basically fuck you attitude. I don't give a shit what I'm doing. I'm having fun, even at your expense. But like I told everybody that I've talked to, they've been very proud of me. Because 4 or 5 years ago, I'd still be beating his skull in the yard. But Chandler just had a little girl, and I thought about it driving home. I don't want that little girl to know me as the man behind the glass or in the iPad.
You just have to breathe.
Oh, I can breathe now.
Karma
But-
knows where we all are,
And-
right?
and,
And what goes around comes around. That's for
And that's
sure.
kind of
What
what
you
I'm
give
thinking.
out
So
to
yeah,
people, whether it's one way or the other, comes back to you tenfold. That
That's
is the
it.
absolute truth.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, before to bring this down, Val, I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll have a good chat this week about our next subject on wicked women.
Yeah.
And Michael and I will obviously sort out wicked histories as
Yes.
well. And Jason, thank you for joining. And I'm so sorry you went through that experience. I've had
Oh.
something very similar. It happens, but
It does.
their
And
loss, baby.
anything that does not kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly.
Except for a
It's
bear.
their loss. Move on.
If it didn't happen, it wasn't meant to be.
That's it.
Yeah.
But like I said, anything don't kill you make you stronger.
People, and you get
Well,
on
and
really
honestly, the biggest thing for me in all of that is the respect.
Yeah.
That's what
But,
comes down to.
it goes back to closure. And I can tell. And a lot of women don't understand this. And I kind of was going to let that go. But men want closure. What did I do? Why did I do it?
Sure.
Nothing else
Why
so
are
we
you
can learn
doing
from
it?
it.
Yeah,
So
that's
do
it, yeah.
women. So do women.
Yeah, women want that too.
Women want closure. Like, don't
yeah,
think we don't. Like, I can't stand the three things I can't
Well, then
stand.
say something. Holy crap.
I
Yeah.
do. I do. Like ghosting. Ghosting
what
is
is
so
They got to say
childish.
too much.
Yeah,
It is.
it's an asshole
Ghosting
move.
is
You know
so
what I'm saying?
childish, and it's abuse. Any kind of
Yeah.
ghosting is abuse. It plays with your head, and
Yeah.
I think if you, it's not a very nice thing, like you said, Jason, to
No.
say to somebody. But sometimes you just have to and say, "Listen, we
Mm.
get on amazingly,
Yeah.
but I'm not."
I had to do it. I've had to do it, a number of months back. I had met a gal who was a nurse. We got on famously.
Yeah.
Everything was really good. And it was just kind of this thing where she was trying to push for more quicker than I was, ready to, at a pace that, I wasn't ready for. And I had to say, look, I'm not. Wait, say that again.
But the best thing,
Not you.
the best thing you can do is tell them the truth.
Right.
I said you stud. You stud.
Right. Yeah. No, don't feel much like a stud, but that's neither here nor there.
Research purposes, was it tight scrubs and a full sleeve of the tattoo? Everyone I see now has a full sleeve tattoo on at least one sleeve. Tight scrubs and daddy issues. Is that what got you pulled in?
No, that wasn't what got me pulled in. She was genuinely a great gal. I just wasn't in a place mentally, emotionally to give what she needed, and I had to have that conversation with her. It's an uncomfortable conversation to have. You never want to hurt someone, but you want to be honest with them. Be honest.
But I think, as adults, that's the only way to do it. I mean, you can haul around.
We're not a freshman year of high school, guys.
No.
You can do all this stuff, but I think that as adults, the easiest and best thing to do is, I'm sorry, I just don't think we're going to work out because,
respect.
And you can, a lot of times you can still be friends with them,
But
even if you're,
just to add that, expectations and assuming, like sometimes people have expectations, this is going to happen, we're going to be in a relationship. Well, no, you're not actually. That might never happen. They assume that down the road you're going to be in a relationship. Who says it's going to happen? We all have expectations. We all have hopes. We all have wishes, but it doesn't mean anything. And you have to make sure that you're both singing from the same hymn page, going, just to clear this up and just to confirm, because don't expect. And I've done that. That has been one of the bane of my life, because you get on so well, you're thinking this is going to go somewhere. This is going to go. No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
But what I think,
the older we get, the easier it is for us to pick out reasons why it won't go on. So it seems like the older I get, the faster I can nail down things that would stop me from having a good relationship, and that way I'm able to cut it off at the beginning.
Yep.
And I'm not wasting another 5, 10, 15 years.
If all else fails, get
You
a
know,
tip.
like I did
Literally, that's literally what I told the
young
gal on the phone when we had the conversation. I said, look, you know, you can spend my money. You can sleep in my space. You can eat my food. You can do all of these things. Don't waste my time, though.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not
It's
getting any younger. And time is the only thing. I can get more money. I can get more food. I can always have more space if I need it. And I'm always happy to, you know, open the door and share, you know, my space with someone who wants to be there or needs to be there. And, but I can't get my time back.
No,
There's not a bank of time that, you know,
no. It's fleeting.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
think
like-
that's our main regret. That's my main regret.
But ain't that what they say?
So,
It's fleeting.
my
Time
whole
is
life is
fleeting.
the
I can't
time that
remember
I've
who said it.
wasted.
Do you know that's the thing about when you come out of an abusive or a controlling or narcissistic or any relationships that's wasted your time?
Mhm.
You look back and go, I cannot get that back.
Yeah.
And then you've got this panic of like, oh my God, I need to heal I need to heal and I need to get better. But time's running out because let me tell you,
The biological clock.
are you on the dating sites, Jason? Are you on like Bumble and places like that?
I haven't been on those since sometime back in the winter.
Well, coming from someone who has and is, I can honestly tell you it's like disappointing.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Really?
No doubt. And that's
It's
like, there was plenty
Which
of
is the
stuff
least of
where,
the dumpster fire.
you know, I ran into things that went nowhere, whether conversationally or we met up and it's like, okay, this isn't, you know, this isn't going to go anywhere. I met the nurse, you know, through one of the dating apps. So there are successes, but then there's also having to do the reality check of where you're at
Yeah.
when something hits you and you kind of like, you know what?
And
I'm
knowing
not
that
there.
they'll
I'm
be
not
straight-
there.
I had an
Looking
older
for-
lady tell me that the dating sites was like shopping at the thrift store for something that was not quite
Yeah.
damaged beyond use. And I'm like, holy shit! But no,
There's a lot of honestly, I've never known so many pictures of men with fish or their tongue sticking out or they're completely
But that
bald,
shows
they've
their
got, like, big
playful
things,
side.
and they're like that, sitting like that, going, what?
Just
What part
sitting
of that
there with the rod and the fish. Look at the trout account.
And it's like, why would you do that?
you know,
Why
I'm
would you have a photograph? of you
not
doing
on the
that?
dating sites, but
They're
I think
showing they're outdoorsy and fun and they're cool with being outside. Look,
And then there's the
the
other
gals who appreciate that, which I think Val probably does on a certain level because she came right in and was like, they're showing their playful fun side, right?
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
they're looking for gals like her, Wendy. They're not looking for gals like you. All right. So you see the 12-pound trout
Oh my
in the
God.
photo.
He caught a great big fish.
Just
great
go
big fish,
go
but
swiping by. Don't worry
He's a
about
provider.
it. He's not
He's a
about you.
provider.
You're not about him. Just maybe they need to add another filter that says no fish pics. Click on that, and then that'll just eliminate a whole.
Nobody, I'll tell you, nobody wants unsolicited fish pics.
Yeah,
I have lots
but
of
anyway.
filters on mine, and I tell you what, it's like they go, you really know what you want. And do you know what? It puts men off because men like women to be a bit like, you know, they don't want us to always
giddy and
be
goofy.
like,
Yeah, that's
they
it.
want us to be
Agreeable.
like, actually, no, that's not going to work for me because a strong woman will intimidate a lot of men.
Yeah.
They really will. And there's a difference between strong and controlling.
Yeah, but
There
I got a question.
is.
What do you
Sometimes
think about the
strong
guys
women don't know where that line between strong and controlling is with themselves and how to step back from it.
Sure.
But same with strong men.
All right.
We're all guilty of it.
Talking about the fish pics.
It's general neutral.
We don't want a fish pic. Valerie wants a big fish pic. But anyway, what about all, you know? Now I watched the thing the other day, and the woman was like, "What is it with all the guys who are flipping off the camera? You're 58 years old. You got your hat on backwards, and you're flipping off the camera. It don't make you look young and like hip. You look old and desperate.
Look, man, I don't know why you got a problem with this. Okay.
It's like
it does.
If I took a photograph, and I sadly can't, but if I took a photograph, I did a show with Scotty about it some years ago. it's like the horror house. Like
Yeah.
literally, some of them are like, and then there's the one that messages you and they just want fun, or what's the other one? Monogamous
DTF.
relationships, and you're just like, have you seen my profile, mate? Have you read it?
Yeah.
Right.
Underneath
Yeah.
it
I,
says,
I feel
"No,
like I can change you.
I'm the one.
I can. There's a page on Facebook where you can go, and it's like, mugshots of like hot women,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and
There's
it's just
some man
full
out there
of
desperately looking for her.
like, I can fix her comments.
I can change them. They'll change for me.
Yeah.
We're just, see, that's the thing, is men are
Always
just as
thinking
guilty
woman
of that
is
crap
wrong.
as women are with the, oh, I can fix them, oh, I can change them.
No, you can't.
For the most part, you can't. In some instances, you can if you know
You
what
can
to show and you understand
No,
what they
only
need.
they can change themselves.
You
can
can
help
facilitate would be a better way of
Right.
putting it. You can
Right.
facilitate and support that change that they make
Wait,
for
right.
themselves, but they have to
with
want
money
to
and
do it. in the first
medication.
place.
But it's
Oh,
a
money and
very
medication
small
helps a lot.
percentage that actually want to change.
Or even
can-
realize that they need to.
You can
No.
help to
Oh, that's true.
enhance one, of course, but there
Yes.
are.
All right,
I'm
buddy.
sorry, there's just
Pretty
no
good.
cure for some of these things, because I've
Good boy.
especially if you put the filter over the age of 60, I've actually noticed there's quite a lot of gentlemen over the age of 60 just come up with the word, you're really gorgeous, or you're really fit, or whatever like that. And it's like, here's a tip, have a conversation with me, write something nice, something interesting, because I'm not interested in just hearing that. It's like, ooh. And the same with women. Women go like this on a lot of men's posters, and they come up and they don't talk to them. They don't talk to the men they swipe to. Well, why did you swipe them if you didn't want to talk to them?
Because she
Women-
didn't want Betty down the street to have him.
Right. I can keep this person on back burner. I've got a bullpen. Everybody's warming up in the bullpen. I've got
And I always-
selection. I have
what is it?
choice.
And
Yeah.
I always
have
say, all
backup
these women
plans.
ask, where's all the good guys? You didn't
I've
swipe
always
on
wanted
him.
to do
You friend
speed
zoned him.
Never done it, Val. Never done speed dating. I'd love to do that for the crack. When you've just got like 5 minutes to get to talk to someone,
Oh.
and you're like, so tell me about yourself. And they're like, well, I'm
Yeah.
and the next thing you know, like, okay, well, that's really lovely. And you put down the numbers. How awful is it at the end of the night when they come around and go, nobody put your number down? You'd
So
be
that
like,
means-
Yeah, see, that would be my fear. I'd be like, okay.
I'm
Yeah.
afraid I would go in there with
Better
zero
vote.
expectations, and the very cynical side of me would come out,
Yeah.
and then I would just be sitting there in the chair, not saying things to intentionally make people mad or piss people off or drive them away, but just being very blunt in my humor,
Yeah.
allowing some of the dark humor to kind of come out and things like that, and have people just be like, he's damaged. And
Yeah.
damn
I'd be like,
I know I'd be sitting there and they're like,
I've heard
really,
that before.
I'm going to pray for you.
Oh, you're so jaded.
right,
You-
yeah,
you-
you're
you-
super
you-
jaded, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah. It's like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry that you have no sense of humor. I'm
Yeah,
awesome.
I've heard. I've actually had that. I was like, well, if I really was interested, that might hurt my feelings. But since I'm not,
Yeah.
well, I guess it works.
I've seen some horror stories on Facebook of people that splash all their personal life out there.
Oh,
And I don't really need to read all of that, and I'm sure the rest of us don't really need to read it, because there are some things that need to be kept between you and one other person.
Mhm.
And I think the moment that you start putting it out there, you kind of lower your what word I want to use,
I don't know. There's so many.
Self-worth.
decorum.
yeah.
That's
That's a big word.
And it's like, end of the day,
Definition, comment.
whatever we do, whether it's control, whether it's trauma, whether it's this, that, and the other that makes us do it, I think there are some things that we all don't need to see.
But people who do put every aspect of their life out
Sure.
for anyone to see, what gives them the right to get upset when someone doesn't agree
Right.
Exactly.
or says something negative?
Here's what I would
You
love to
put
see.
it out there.
Here's what I would love to see. I see all the people, and there's even conversations that have been had about this, this sort of thing, that look, what you're seeing on social media so often more often than not, you're only seeing one aspect of their lives, and what they're putting up there is done in a manner to make everything look perfect and wonderful and great. Now, some instances that is the case. Hey, they've got a great life going on, but in most, no, they're presenting the absolute best foot forward that they possibly can. Whether they're by themselves, single, whether they're in a relationship, whatever it is. I would love to see like the absolute polar opposite of that. Like it would be very down. Like it'd be kind of soul crushing at times to see that. But then it would be like, hey, here's reality. Yeah, Betsy over here who bakes the cupcakes and has the whatever going on, and everything looks so prim and proper. Everything's perfect. Look at her with her, June Cleaver, life going on here. Having the mental breakdown in her living room because she's been rejected for the 5th time this week by somebody she was interested in, and she has bills that are late. She's struggling with something. Let's be real about it so we could break that mystification that happens with social media where we just see that perfect filter. I would love to see an absolute shitstorm of a page where somebody posted like that just to disrupt the status quo.
There was one out there not too long ago. And when you put that side of you out and you're looking for attention and you don't get the positive attention and the pat on the back and say, you poor, pitiful thing. Then when people call you out on your bullshit,
right?
Well, if you don't like me, you can go get fucked. You know what I'm saying? No, you put your life out there.
Yeah.
When you open that door for comments,
they're all not going to be racist.
Not everybody out there is gonna agree that
is
yes, you did the exact thing that you were supposed to do. And
it's very damaging. And I think you've got on the left corner we have blah, and on the right corner we've got this. And I think that it's all yet again control. It's all control. I'm going to have the first say. I'm going to have the last say.
I want to control the narrative.
And I think it's all control. And I think sometimes we have to ask ourselves why we feel the need to do that. Why do we feel the need that we have to be that narrative when actually
we have no control anywhere else in our life?
But that goes back to a lot of missions and stuff I've heard come down to that. We got to control the optics. We got to control the narrative. Winners write the history books. And I often thought later in life, these are some fucked up individuals. If it wasn't that bad, why do we have to control the narrative? How come do we have to control the optics? But there's a whole bunch of people gets paid a lot more money than me that runs the stats. What is this going to look like? How can we control the fallout? How can we control?
But the moment I actually put a picture of me dating someone on Facebook, I'm thinking, oh God, this is it now. It's the doom bell because
you're Facebook official. This means everything's going to blow up.
It's going to go, and and then it doesn't. People go, oh, you were dating someone, and you're like, well, I was.
Yeah.
Now I'm too scared to do that. So
I don't put it out there. No sense in jinxing myself. I mean, there's that aspect, and there's the fact of the matter that it's my life, and nobody needs to know.
No,
it's none yet.
I mean, that's the thing. There's certain things. There's certain things. My girls. I'll post things about my girls. They're always going to be my girls,
right?
Regardless. So
next time I date someone, I'm actually going to put a headline.
As of right now,
as of this moment.
Well, hey, I'm accepting resumes. So if anybody wants to send me their CV, please feel free. I will entertain across oceans and across rivers and across, whatever. But you got to have a good CV. So
100%. Like literally, as of this moment, this is person I'm currently actually doing activities with, but they may not be around for much longer. I wish I'd done that.
Did they watch this show?
Anytime we post anything and you see as of right now, you'll know that,
Do we want to start giving over/under odds? Do we want to put money on?
We may start a pot. So
Okay. I was
And
going
the
to
thing
say,
is, it's so
say, ladies,
horrible because
send
you
your
can't let
LinkedIn
it
info
go.
to Jason
Shall I
Patrick
put a
at
photo up? And then
gmail.com.
you're like, maybe I should put a photo up. Maybe I shouldn't put a photograph. And then you do put a picture up, and everyone loves it. And you think, oh, well, that's nice. That's enjoyable. And then down the line, boom. You're just like,
and you think that's a great picture. I hate to delete that.
And there are gals who've got mad about me being like, you don't post stuff of us on Facebook. You just post your cars and your whatever. And it's like,
Or your dog.
right. And I've literally said this to a couple of them, which I probably should never have gotten involved with in the first place, but it got to a point where it's like, yeah, I do post pictures of my 63 Volkswagen Beetle that's painted like Herbie the Love Bug, because you know what? Oh, and my motorcycle. Why? Because both of those things here were here long before you were, and they'll be here long after you are. Those are the two most consistent things in my life.
Exactly. Exactly.
They're not going to go, I'm sorry, it's not you, it's me.
It's me. Yeah.
Right. If I throw a rod on an engine, I can just build a new engine.
And it don't get jealous.
The thing is, like, also there is that thing is, if you don't put a picture up of them and it is a genuine relationship as well, there's two sides to this whole thing. And what I don't like are the kind of relationships where you just meet, you've just got with someone and you got the pictures up. This is my love of my life. This is my world. He's everything to me. You can say to someone, he's a great guy. He's been really supportive. Thank you for that and all that lot. But then when you start calling him love of your life, the greatest thing that's since sliced bread, and then the swine down the road goes, I'm just not feeling it anymore. You just sort of like, oh, I just like slink away.
Well, the love of my life just left, so let's find another one.
I mean, how many times do you have to put that story, Val, up if you roll along with posting everything? Here's trouble.
How many times have I put up the
I'm
love
talking
of my
in general.
life?
Right, like I'm talking about the situation in general where you put up all of your stuff that this is all great, and then everything blows up, and you're having to sit there. Well, now I got to walk all these posts back and look like an idiot. Like, how many times does a person have to go through that before they're just like, I'm not doing this anymore?
Years ago when first
it really is embarrassing, and you sort of cringe because you just feel like, oh God, I'm never doing this again. Ken, can you hear us?
Yeah, fairly. I can hear you now. Yes, I can.
Oh,
I'm just saying, it's lovely to see you.
Don't hate the messenger. Don't do that.
I can't. Can you hear him? Because he's a
little crackly, but he's
you're coming in broken, KB.
That's because that's my middle name, B for broken.
That's my middle name.
Hey, I had the Broken Bee farm. They said, why is it the Broken Bee? I said, my back's broke, my wallet's broke, and everything we got down here to work with is broke. But no, when Facebook first came out, my mom worked with this woman, and it was every few weeks she'd post herself with a new guy on Facebook. And my mom was a trip. I'd come in, I said, Mom, what's on your mind? Oh hell, look, there's old Susie with her dick of the day. And you're like, holy hell, but
damn,
she
Mom.
Line, I'm like, God. And my mom, like I said, my mom went through a lot of shit. And one day, like I said, the whole script flipped. She laid his ass out with a big cast iron skillet, and I was like, Mom, he's laying on the floor. She said, I know he is. And if he gets up, he'll lay there again. You want to talk about when control was swapped in the house? That's very Appalachian, ain't it, Valerie?
It is. I have to say, it really is.
When you got a 14-inch cast iron skillet.
My ex-wife has a family story from like great grandparents. There was a great grandmother somewhere in there who was half native, half white settler, kind of thing, and heavily abused by the husband. And apparently this tiny woman laid him out with a frying pan. And then he somehow ended up tripping and falling out of a window.
Like I said, they're only going to take so much. And that's what
that was in Virginia.
Those floors.
So that's very Appalachian.
It is.
the floor is not necessarily level.
Oh yeah, yeah. They didn't
So,
have level.
right around the
that.
windows. So if you get hit, you're very likely to go out the window. It's easy. Easy
And most
done.
likely
Yeah,
it'd be-
you got a board that's warped and sticking up. You just you lose your footing because you toe right through that pane glass, man. It's just
Hook
tragic.
that toe in
Absolutely
there and
tragic.
you will go right out the window.
So Ken, are you on this week?
Yeah, I got an appointment early in the morning around 8 o'clock. I should be back by 9:30. I should be on by 9:30. I'm hoping. If the ladies will be 10 o'clock, but yeah, I will be on
Tomorrow. KB,
Tomorrow.
Ken
Don't call, wake
Bowles.
me up, KB. If you don't wake me
And
up, it's on you.
Saturday, if I do decide to do a little, just a short show from up there, Ken will be there too. So.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. The Terry, she'll be there. Terry will be there.
Terry will
Thanks
be
for the
there.
morning.
Daniel.
Yes, she will. Yes, she will. She'll be there.
He's
The
not
whole
here
crew.
for this, is he, Terry? So hopefully sooner or later the whole crew will be back. Scotty will be back with us, and he will be out doing Robertson, and also his other show as well. Because I know he's desperate to bring the new show up, that the Epic Life, I think it is. And Val will have her show back, and look
And
out for Wicked
History.
Women next week, same time, 9 o'clock London, UK. And Val, give the other times because you're so good at it.
Yeah, you just don't remember them. 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, and 2 o'clock on the
Mountain.
You know, Wendy, I can help you with that.
It's 2 o'clock on the communist
I can.
coast. You can't get that.
Yeah.
2 o'clock on the communist
Yeah.
coast.
on the continent coast.
I can help you with your time telling problem, Wendy.
How?
We'll just make a little card that you tape to your computer screen that says the times. That's all. It's a problem solved, problem staying solved.
She just really likes to put me on the spot.
It's simple. It's 2 o'clock on the communist coast. I mean,
2 o'clock on the communist coast.
yeah.
Oh, poor Canada. Yes.
Oh, the left coast.
Yeah.
No, the communist coast. The other side of the country.
Out California.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
doing
No.
too much over here, I have to be honest. It's a bit like communist Britain as well, some of the things here as well.
Do we need to come sort that out for you? Me and Ken have that sorted out in about 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we as Americans do at this point genetically have experience with overthrowing kings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm surrounded by lots of lovely Americans, and I feel like the odd one at the moment because there's only me. But I love you guys, love the energy you bring, and love your.
We're special.
Oh yeah.
Your
Like
beautiful
short bus.
country, because
I agree with you, JP. You're special.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am definitely special. Special ed.
Yeah.
Look,
And
I'm not saying I rode the short bus to school, but
Well, Wicked Women was supposed to go for an hour. We've actually almost done 3, so that's not bad. This will last you for a couple of weeks, guys. If we're not back, just watch it again.
Yeah, put it on repeat. We need the views. Like,
And
subscribe.
make sure you guys say hello to Miss Terry. She's watching. I mean, he's watching.
Yeah.
Oh,
Terry.
Terry is. Hey,
Tell
Terry.
that he's been naughty.
Yeah, Miss Terry.
Yeah. Tell him he's been so naughty. He'll like that.
Well, Terry is very naughty because he's not
Naughty.
here. He's not here, and he hasn't come on screen, so he's very naughty, and he's going to get a jolly good spanking. And I'm sure I've made his evening now.
Yes,
He's out there going.
Look out for Bigfoot.
I
Yeah.
haven't,
just feel
I haven't
uncomfortable
been-
now.
I haven't been on your show for a while, Ken, because I've literally not been well, but I have watched it from a distance, and I did see Scotty on it recently, and I really hope. I haven't heard from Scotty, so I need to ring him and find out where we're coming from. You can find Wicked Women on YouTube at Wicked Women 888. You can find us on Instagram Wicked Women 888, and also on X under the same as well, and occasionally under the Dark Huntress when I put it out there. And literally, we are wrapping up for this week. I hope you guys have a wonderful Father's Day at the end of it. We've already done our Father's Day's over, but yours is still to go. So happy Father's Day to
Ours is today.
It's I got a question.
Our Father's Day is today.
same as mine.
Do
Thank you,
we still
Wendy.
have, do we still have merch? Is Valerie still doing the merch, the Wicked Women coffee cups and all that?
I have to wait for our symbol, our changes.
We have the vintage cup,
Yes.
but now that the one is, because we've compacted. It was originally the two of us, and now that's.
I'd like to say this before y'all go. Wendy, I know you made Cherry's night tonight. Him and his baby oil are doing great since you talked to him. I will say that him and his baby oil are doing great since you call him naughty. I mean,
No,
Terry,
he said something about naughty
Terry,
baby oil
you
on
made his
Terry.
night. Calling
Yeah.
Terry naughty.
Naughty.
Aw,
Naughty
well,
Terry.
that is baby oil. He's doing great now.
Oh, he's doing great now. Yeah.
You said something about baby oil and he's doing great now, but he hang out
Yeah,
with Diddy?
he saw Wendy.
Yeah.
He saw
Terry
Wendy.
and the Diddy party. Yeah.
So Wendy.
it's a good job I have broad shoulders, isn't it, boys? Good job I have broad shoulders, being the only Brit in the house. But
we've
Stiff upper
adopted
lip,
you.
Wendy.
wait,
You can
I actually
you can handle it. You can take it.
Let me just get it, because I need to bring this in.
Oh, he's gonna handle it. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure. I'm just saying.
Here we go. Look. Token Brit.
I could go get my 48 star flag.
Maybe I
I
should
got
do it as an earring.
13 on mine. I got 13 stars on mine.
He's got 13. Oh.
Yeah.
He's got the
Like what sort of treason is that?
He's British descent. That's why he's allowed to do that, because
Treason.
he comes from Britain.
Straight
No,
treason. Treason.
People ask me, why do I do the flag? I said, because we're international. She's in the UK. We're in the US. We've adopted her. And if they don't like it, they can kiss my ass. I was going to say something else, but it's really naughty. They could be a puffer of something. And anyway, and I'll tell them, I said, I fought. I bled for that. I will fold it any fucking way I want, and I'll put anybody else's flag there that I have an allegiance to. And if they don't like it, we can discuss it in the yard. And that big old dog.
Can we all get along? Can we all get along?
Apparently not.
No.
And there is a basset hound at the top of there, but behind there.
Oh yeah.
Well, we do get along. We're cousins, and we love you guys, and we're just surrounded by dimwits in the government.
Fucking idiots. But no.
Yeah, we're having similar problems over here, Wendy. Don't worry, we understand.
You know what? But they got the Marines out there, and California should be cleaned up directly, because I got
10 towns over here saying, please send them over here too.
But and I tell them, don't try that, because them guys really don't care. But I got a thing yesterday. Yesterday was the Army's 250th birthday. And one of my Marine Corps friends sent me a message that says, "Happy birthday to your branch from your better looking younger brother." And I thought, you cheeky motherfucker, you prick. It's a sideways comment. But no,
I saw a picture of one of the Air Force Secretary of the Air Force guy, and it said Happy Father's Day, Dad, to the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day and Happy Birthday or something like that. And it was the Air Force guy saying it to the Army. I was like, nice.
Yeah, and
we had Troop in the Colour yesterday, because it was the King's. Well, it's not his official birthday, but and everyone's looking at William and Kate and their 3 children, because obviously you have the other one over there, and keep them.
I was going to say, do you want him back?
You can have them back.
Yeah, we'll send you with that kind too. Oh, Jesus Christ, mate! I always said, you burnt the White House down twice. We waited like 200 some years to get even. Meghan Markle is how we got even for burning the White House down.
You can keep them. It's okay.
Yeah, but they sent her back.
No,
Can you blame them?
we're quite
No.
happy with William.
You know,
Thank you.
they should have tattooed on her ass cheek. Do not return to sender. We do not want. But Jason,
All I got to say is, and I don't want to say anything explosive, but I know a lot of pregnant women who are just about to give birth,
Mhm.
and their bumps don't look like that.
no.
They don't look like that. And I gotta say, like, she's a duchess, and seeing her like doing this kind of dancing, I just thought was not becoming of one.
It's not
Which one are we
very
talking about?
polished or
Merkel?
prudent.
Meghan Merkel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has she ever really been the Duchess type?
No, when I look at a princess or a duchess type, I look at Princess Diana
Or Catherine.
or Catherine. Yeah, Catherine. Now Catherine.
Catherine reminds me of Diana a lot.
Very stoic, very, and even her kids, and they look like a real family. Cause like the Queen's funeral, she led them kids in. She's like, you set your ass here, here, and here, and it's like she had talking about command and control. Them kids, this is the future kings or queens of a country, and here's mom saying, "Get your ass in line, sit down, shut up." This is very serious, and they're like, "Okay." And even the little boy, I
But
think he's so cute. He's just sitting there and he's like, and he knows that the role he's picked for.
George.
Yeah, I can never
But
remember.
but you have to remember, Catherine's been around that her entire life.
Yeah,
Meghan has not.
it don't matter.
So, I
was gonna
mean,
say
I
some
don't
controversy,
believe
but
that she said, I didn't know who Harry was. I never Googled him. I'm sorry, but if someone rings you up and says, "Oh, it was a blind date with you with Prince Harry," you're Googling him. You're
Yeah.
Googling him straight
she's
away.
a lying.
good and daggone well, she knew exactly who the whole family was.
100%.
Then she's talking about money or whatever. Bitch, you picked her own brother. William has all the crown's money. Harry gets a stipend. Sorry, but no, that's what I'm saying. I knew the royal family is in trouble when you bring kind of people's going to bust me for this, but like trash into it. It's garbage in,
Well,
garbage.
but that's kind of the problem, though, is that sometimes you have to inject a little more updated genetic material into the line. I
Well,
mean,
Diana was
let's look
different.
at all the stuff that happened way back when with all the cousin,
but
marrying.
I don't see many of the big overbites there now. I think we could have done without her. But no,
Diana
Jason, you know what I get the
definitely
wave
was
the flag for?
moments, but
Do you know who that is?
It's K9.
K9. Yep, Jason's over looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a big enough Doctor Who fan, you can wave the flag.
Doctor Who, don't even get me started. I need Mark on here. Doctor Who.
Bring him back.
So disappointing because Doctor Who is, I'm a lifelong Whovian, right? I'm a lifelong Whovian. I love Doctor Who, but it becomes so, and I love Russell T Davies, he's brilliant, but it's so woke, and it's like we're a female doctor, we've had a black doctor, now it's going to have to be a trans, or it's going to have to be a disabled person, and it's like, let's just get back to the program, which is where it was a man traveling in a box. James Bond should always be a man. Doctor Who should always be
Everything is going woke.
But you know what's crazy?
The BBC is worse. The BBC is terrible.
And
right now.
And I think I've told Wendy this. You had a fairly attractive doctor with a young, pretty assistant on his arm in a blue box.
Yeah.
And he was charming the pants off of her. And once he got her in, and she always says it looks bigger on the inside than it is the out. And
Story of my life.
and I'm like, okay. And but you know what I'm saying? He charmed, what is it? Doctor Who can knock the knickers off a nun.
Mm.
But that's why he was. And he was a man's man. He was funny. He was witty. Him and a sonic screw, you know what I'm saying? He could fix your rose with a sonic screwdriver. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he wears a skirt, like Doctor, not a kilt,
Yeah.
just a skirt. And I'm just devastated because I love this program, and all of a sudden, it's just woke. So the BBC has become very, very woke as well. So our country is really not good. So we watch what's going on over there, and people. My dad asked me today, what do your friends think of Trump? And I said, well, predominantly my friends in America are from the South,
The South. Yeah,
they love Trump, right? They love him. And he's like, oh, and I said, don't read everything you believe everything you read in the media because it's
Fake
not
news.
true. But we need
I
a
can't.
Trump country. We really need a Trump in this country because we have.
Well, you kind of had one for a while there in old Boris, but you know he had to throw the party during COVID, and
But
You know.
who's that guy they got now that came over and he's like, oh, I got speed. And JD Vance. JD's a Marine. He will always be a Marine. You're never going to change him. And he said, oh, we have
I want to cry when I look at Canada because I'm like,
And JD's like,
Carney?
nope.
Carney? He
The
wasn't
communist
even.
Carney. Yeah.
What the
I've got
he
I've
was-
got friends who want to leave Canada, but then like at the same time, I had friends from the rockabilly community that would every year, like clockwork, go to Viva Las Vegas Rockabilly Weekender. Sadly, we've had to give up our tickets. We can't go because of personal, political related reasons and all of the stuff going on with the tariff things. And I'm like, dude,
Oh.
you not coming down to a festival that 98% of the rest of the country doesn't know about isn't going to change anything. Sorry. Like, I hate to be.
What does that have to do with tariffs?
Well, right. And that's because Canada got hit with tariffs. And it doesn't have anything to do with tariffs. The only thing you're doing is one, denying your friend, time spent with you, quality time spent with you. You're denying the individual private vendors who make things and sell them at the events. You're impacting these people. You're doing nothing for trade.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
The big thing for it. Yeah. You're right. You're not doing anything. Exactly.
If anybody's watching in Canada, I propose a trade. We will give you California, Washington State, and Oregon. We want Alberta.
No, you can't have Alberta.
Why?
Separate.
Why?
Like she
They
wants
got
to be
they got big trucks and all.
That's right. We just invite her in. Alberta is like the most American province out of Canada. 51st state right there. Boom. Come on in, Alberta.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah.
We'll
trade you.
I lived there for 2 years. I love them to pieces. They're wonderful people. They want to be on their own. They don't want to be joined to Canada. But the thing is that the native, the original people there,
Indigenous
First Nations.
The land
First Nation,
they can't split the land up because it's all signed. So it's not like they can just go, well, I'm just going to do that, because they go, hang on a minute, that's actually our land that you're. So it's not.
We got an antidote for that too.
They want to.
We got rid of a queen or king in 1970 or 1776. Yeah.
I would go. I mean, literally. I mean, I've been to Toronto.
Didn't I hear something recently about how there may be questions about the validity of the independence of Canada from the UK because, like, the paperwork wasn't actually signed?
Well, what can I say? We like to hold on to pretty things and not give them back.
But
we like to, you only have to go to the British Museum to see how many wonderful things in there. We're like, no, we want to keep that. It's shiny. Well, we're going to keep that. Canada is.
How many mummies come out of the UK? But how many mummies does the British Museum hold?
Did you not? But we've just given something back. We've just given an island back because our government is so inept. We just went, have the island back. And tell you what, just send over loads of foreigners to us. It's fine. We'll take them. Just come along.
Put them on a boat.
But the thing about Canada is Carney was actually ahead of the Bank of England, and he absolutely screwed it up. And now his little friend invited him over, and literally we all thought Pierre Poilievre was going to win. We honestly thought this guy was.
Trump opened his mouth with some stupid stuff, and that swung a bunch of the people that would have actually made the vote happen. Like, look, there's plenty of policies that I'm cool with. There's some stuff that I'm not cool with. Home Slice needs to stay the fuck off of Twitter. I'm sorry. The crap off of Twitter. Just stop. Okay. Don't think before you speak on some of these things. Not all of them. It's entertaining, but some of them, could you take a minute? Let's think about this strategically.
My politicians to entertain me. But here's the deal. The only reason Canada is still free is because it's got the biggest bully in the neighborhood as a neighbor. And we're not going to let nobody come into Canada. And I figure if we got to pay for their defense, they would be the 51st state.
Can you
Now,
not just pay for ours, please? Actually, because I think the UK might be more desperate.
We can
Wait,
take that.
what's
too.
that? The UK wants to. You guys want to become a territory of the US? Is that what?
Yeah, put that out there.
On us
You could-
over because we need it. Honestly, we need it. I mean, Canada is one of the biggest. What is the second biggest?
What is
Your
Russia?
what landmass type
Yeah.
thing? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Right now, they're like the rent's so expensive. You know, groceries are really, really expensive. Not much different to over here, I've got to say. But if you ask me to pick out the two countries, I'd still pick Canada over the UK, 100%.
But you know, and here's the deal. You know, you're never totally free if that person's keen's on your money. Canada, Australia, and you know, what is it? There's a few other commonwealths that are like it, but and then it's like what is it? It used to be Her Majesty or HMS or whatever. Now it's His Majesty ship. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You know, their ships still carry HMS, but yet you're your own free independent country. Call bullshit.
Like I said, something said that there was something floating around somewhere that the paperwork wasn't actually signed, so they're not technically.
They're part of the Commonwealth. I wouldn't be surprised, and I pray to God that we always have a royal family, because I would hate to see a President Starmer, Prime Minister Starmer, or some other person who's the head of the country. With the royal family, it stops us having a president or a prime minister. That is the big and end all. We still, and also they're the head of the Church of England. Can you imagine if we didn't have someone who wasn't the head of the Church of England? What religion may come in and take that over? So all the while
I have an idea, and I heard
you have
this.
the royal family as the head of the Church of England, it still says that we're a Christian country because the head of our church is the king or queen. But unfortunately,
JD got in trouble. A lot of people got pissed off. He said, "What will be the first Muslim nation to have a nuclear weapon?" And he said, "The UK." And there's like, "Oh no." He said, "Have you walked the streets? I have." And he's married to an Indian lady, and you know she's very stoked. She's another one. And you know, I look at the first ladies, Melania Trump. She's an immigrant. You know what I'm saying? She's an immigrant. Yeah. You know, but yet they, you know, they call him a racist, and they call him, oh, he don't like immigrants. He's married one. He just picked a good one that don't, you know, murder people and hit them with a car driving without a license.
She's clever. She's got her head screwed on that one.
And that's like JD. You know, they can talk shit about JD. He's married to I think she's Hindu or something. Hell, she's vegan. That would be a deal breaker for me. Bitch, you don't eat meat. No.
The thing about England and America, we will always be friendly because we've got a lot of things that tie us together. We have a lot of family connections. It's just literally the pond that's.
Do you have any oil? If you say you got oil in England, that will bring you freedom really quick, because the eagle will scream. And
we don't, but we do have lots of lovely other things over here.
It's as Eddie Izzard once said. He's like, "Oh, I'm from England, where the history comes from."
Yeah.
It's true. You cannot beat us for history because we go back almost 2,000 years. I mean, literally Romans, Druids, pagan, etc.
Speaking of wicked, they just found King Arthur's birthplace in the castle, and I watched that the other night. And now they found the root, and they think the plague is what made it be abandoned and crumbled.
Where was it?
It was
It's not Tintagel is where they thought he was born.
Cornwall. Is it Cornwall?
That's where
down south. It's all way in the south, and they're doing a excavation. It's like a big, what do you call it? Archaeological. Yeah. One of them big ass words. And but they said that the time fits right. They found like broken pottery, broken glass, and stuff like this. And they said the time fits for his birth. I think King Arthur was a real dude. Well, I don't think he had a magical sword.
Roman, don't they? They think he was Roman and British.
Yeah.
Roman and British.
Because his mother,
But you know, the Romans came over here once, and we kicked their ass. And they were like, "We're not coming back to that country again for 100 years." And when they did come back again, they kind of conquered us for another 100 years. And then after they buggered off and left us and left Londinium, Londinium.
London, yeah.
And Hadrian's Wall.
The Saxons came over and said, you know what? We want to come and live and trade and etc. with you. So Saxons came, and then the Vikings came over, and then the Normans came over. And after that, we were kind of buggered because the French weren't going easily. And having looked at my family tree, I am related to Norman, Saxon, Viking, and Celtic. No Roman in me at all.
But you know,
No wonder you're so strong-willed, Wendy.
What was it? It was the four. It was the four kingdoms. With the
Scottish, baby, 40% Scottish.
Yeah, it had the four. What was the four kingdoms? Because it was. They had the four kingdoms and they could not get along. That's how come the Vikings went through and just raised hell and all kinds of shit.
100%.
Then one wanted to be friends with the other one's like, hey, if you help me kick this guy's ass, I'll give you this much money. I'm Viking custom concepts. I live like a Viking. Hell, I'm a mercenary. You pay me.
You gotta love a man, Val, that wears armor and uniform and swings a sword around. Let's be honest, you got to. I mean, there's some fine looking men back then. They really were.
Yeah.
Were they? Were they though? Yeah. They didn't have photography. They just had
our
painting.
interpretation of them is.
Yeah. The mind's eye sees what it
probably
sees.
smelled really bad.
They probably looked worse than they smelled. But in our minds, that's not so. So
look up your family crest.
Mm.
I don't know where he was from. But he was
I have a
wonderful
crest on both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side. We have two.
Val, when am I going to get you over here? Because otherwise I'm coming over there quicker than you're going to get here.
Yeah.
When they build a road?
You still got no passport?
Mm.
No, but I don't want to get on a plane either.
Well, you can always take a boat.
Get on a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roll your boat gently across the
Yeah,
ocean.
and 6 months later I get over there.
No,
That's
not how that works.
It'd be the freaking Titanic. My luck.
Hey,
you know what I hear? I hear a lot of excuses. That's what I hear. I hear a lot of excuses and insecurities.
Okay,
and
I'm scared.
By God, you need to just get on the plane.
Hey, you know what?
You need to get on the boat. You got to do the thing. All right.
What, Ken?
You're feared.
I'm afeared. I'm scared to fly, and I've seen too many ocean disaster movies. And I'm afraid to take a boat.
I've been back and forth that Atlantic I did 22 times in 2 years. 22 times.
But you know my
look, as long as you're not on Spirit Airlines, you're fine. All right.
I don't know. They had a crash the other day, and the way the guy that he was flying out of India back into the UK, which not to make light of that, because there was 200 and like
terrible, absolutely awful.
Yeah.
But this
one guy walked out of that,
and he said, "How did you make it?" He said, "I fucking jumped out of the airplane." I'm thinking, who thinks in their minds like, this is going to end badly. I need to get the fuck out of here, and he just jumps out.
The thing is, do you know what upsets me with something like that? All those people were so happy to get on a plane. They were going somewhere, going to see someone.
Yeah, made it through customs, made it through security,
and they just literally took off, and it went down so quick. And it's a miracle that guy.
And it was like 3 little ones, 3 babies or something, and then it was like there's a Canadian, Australian. I think like 40 British.
There were also animals on that plane as well.
Yeah. You can't forget about the fur babies.
That's not helping me at all. Thank you.
Val.
So here's what you do, guys. Wendy, Michael. Yes. All right. So Val, check it out. Here's what you do. Go look at the stats. All right. You have a statistically higher probability of being struck by lightning than being, caught in a ocean liner that sinks off in the Atlantic, than planes that go down, than being attacked by a shark. All right. If you're at the beach, statistically speaking.
See, they brought sharks up. We hadn't mentioned the great whites.
No. Yeah, you didn't mention, What
I'm just saying, go look at the hard data and then start when you look at the data and you look at the statistics,
it's hard to deny that the safety rating of these things, these methods of travel, you're safer doing that almost than you are driving to work if you live, within a half hour of your house. Like most car accidents happen within like 5 or 10 miles of home. Like it's a
but I can get in a car accident and I'm not going to fall 10,000
you
feet
won't know much about
after
it
the car accident.
so quick. When I was in that flight that dropped,
you're not helping.
But let me tell you, I just thought to myself, it's so quick. I don't know. On a boat, it's a bit slower, right? But the thing is, think of all the Scottish men in their kilts.
Just waiting on the other side.
Yeah. Trust me, it's a struggle. It's an internal struggle.
I mean, you might not be impressed by the food, but
no spouse.
I have been thinking. Do y'all remember the
calm down over there, beans and toast?
Beans and toast. That's what I was thinking. Beans and toast.
You all remember the A-Team, right?
Nothing wrong with beans and toast, baby. Nothing wrong with them.
The A-Team, they used to just knock out. They used to just knock him out, put him on the plane, and he woke up wherever he was going.
Oh yeah, here, have this glass of milk, BA. Oh, I love milk.
Yeah.
I think,
knock me out and wake me up when we get there.
I think, Jason, you need to be Anglophiled.
Anglophiled.
I need to be Anglophiled. Hang on.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds bad. No, the other day I sent Wendy a picture. It says fish and chips. It was the red like candy fish and tater chips.
Do you know what this is, Wendy?
Show me. I can't see it.
I can't see it.
Is that what I think it is?
Black pudding.
This is black pudding from Ireland.
I wondered what he had in his hand, Val.
Yeah, look like
don't tell me I need to be Anglified when I keep Irish food.
Yeah, but that's not Anglophile. That's Irish. I mean, British.
You guys have the same thing with full English breakfast. You guys have black pudding. You guys have white pudding on it. You have beans. Look, whenever I get out to the international market, I typically, if they have it in stock, I buy 1 to 2 cases of proper Heinz beans. All right.
Oh yeah. Heinz makes everything.
Why would you like voluntarily buy black pudding?
Because black pudding is friggin' phenomenal. Have you ever had it?
Nope. Don't want it either.
Oh, and I don't plan to.
I sent loads of stuff out.
Okay, first of all, with black pudding, you're not like eating it like it's a sausage or something like that. It goes in a bun or whatever, like you're looking at a bratwurst. You slice it up and you fry it. It does not have some sort of.
Still, I know what's in it, and I just can't.
What, blood and suet? Okay, cool.
I bet he eats haggis too. But anyway, but the one thing I want Wendy to try, and and one thing about being sick, I can say everybody's been very supportive. They're like, Michael, you're losing weight. Your face is thinner. Your body's thinner. You need to eat more. And I sent her a picture of proper biscuits and gravy with fried eggs and breakfast potatoes. And I told her, I said, now this is a proper American breakfast.
I have a counter to that. I have a counter to that, or an alternative.
Of course you do.
I have an alternative to that one, Michael.
How's that?
Corned beef hash, eggs, toast.
Okay,
pig brains.
That's more up there.
Corned beef hash is not pig brains.
Is more over here.
But and it's like, and we said this before. Me and Val has a very unique Southern accent.
I don't
it's
have
very
Virginian.
We all speak English, but it has different meanings.
The
biscuits that
I've never had an accent.
But what I'm saying, the biscuits that Wendy sends me.
That was a little too loud.
I sent you nice biscuits. I sent biscuits and crisps and sweets over to Val, and she said they were divine.
Well,
And it's
you
like
know,
potato.
first we
Always
have to
have
get the
those
British
shrimp
understanding what
chips or
biscuit
whatever.
actually means.
Yeah. Biscuit is a cookie, and the biscuits we have here are more like a stone for them.
See, when I go to Canada, I know exactly what I like. I go and get it, and some of the stuff is foul. Hershey's, like literally,
Hershey's chocolate.
is
Oh.
foul. After you've had Cadbury's,
Cadbury is good.
I
but
hear
Cadbury
Cadbury's
here is
declining though.
in a British store in Canada because I would make a damn lot of money because some of the British stores out there have no idea how to be a British store, and that's
No,
something I
but-
need to do. I need
But
to
you
do
know, the
that.
Cadbury that you sent me is different than the Cadbury we have here.
Yeah, and it's also
It
different to the
is
Cadbury
way different.
Island as well. The Cadbury Island is very different to Cadbury Brit.
But even if you
Oh,
look
yeah.
at the chips or the crisp, because I remember I had her own video chat, and and I was just in I think it's Walgreens, and and that's a small, that ain't nothing like the
Sent me
selection at
so
Walmart
much.
or whatever. And and I'd send back, I said, what do you want to try? She's like, holy shit, all of them. I was like, yeah, what flavor?
That do.
And then when I got the chocolate, I wasn't thinking I'm shipping by the pound. So I'm like, fuck it. I opened the whole bag. Then I realized there's a 5-pound bag of chocolate. So I'm paying to ship 5 pounds of chocolate. But but moon pies. But if you want to blow a British person's mind, send them moon pies. Send them all the flavors.
Yeah.
She's not a fan, but her poor lovely
So-
mother
so
that says she couldn't get it.
Anglification, Wendy.
Let me see. Oh, okay. I'll let you off. You've got something. I'll let you off.
It said some kind of biscuits.
Tut tut. Next
But-
time I want to see the Union Jack. What I want to do is actually come over there and do
Ah.
Wicked with all of you guys and be the Brit in town. That's what I need to do.
All right,
We'll have to get a hotel and
we
get
could
out
we
the
could make
whole-
this happen.
the whole boardroom and but no, even the ginger biscuits, the dogs that they don't have a lot of sugar. It's good for their digestion, and I even like the ginger biscuits. They're a bit much when you first get to them because it's like, holy shit, that's a lot of ginger. But then it's like, but ginger is good for your blood circulation. So
It's really, really good, and the thing is about our food over here, it's not actually that bad. It's actually, people think it's dreadful, but it's actually really nice food. We have
I
a lot
like
less-
bland cooking, so I'd probably fit right in. That's probably the reason I don't like a lot of spice on my food is because I do have the British and German history. But I like sauerkraut. I like the brats. I like we got a restaurant here, Freiburg. The guys from Germany. All the apple strudels and all that. I'm like, well, that's my mom's side. All the bland stuff's like, you ain't gonna put that in them beans, are you? That probably comes from my
You
dad.
got anything else to show me, Jason? Is there anything else you need to show me?
What else you
Oh,
got?
I could think of a few things I could show you, Wendy.
Ah, Lord.
Who's got
But no, it's
So here's that wall. This is you walking right into that.
no, but,
We've known each other a long time, though.
We have. We can get away with a couple of.
We go way back. Jason and I go back like almost to MySpace, wasn't it?
It
the
might be.
MySpace.
It was MySpace. Well, I've known
Or
Jason.
MySpace was still an actual popular thing, at least. At the
I
very
have-
least.
Tom was your friend, wasn't he, Jason?
almost as long as I've known Scott. Well, actually, I've known Scotty about 20 years. Jason a little bit back from that, but
Tom was always everybody's friend, Mike.
the young snapper.
For a long time, Tom was my only friend.
Yes,
I didn't know
you've
why he
been
was
able
my
to
friend.
watch me age horribly. So
I know the feeling. And then I met Michael. No, the lovely Val. I met the lovely Val first, and then I met Ken, and then I met Michael. So
Yeah, the first time she saw me was on Val's show. She made no
was
shirt because
in
we'd been
Canada.
doing hay all day, and I was like, "Let's put."
I
This out here.
will say, I do have a relatively well-sized supply of Earl Grey.
Oh,
So-
me too. Oh,
I keep Earl Grey on hand, so if you want to look at more,
hold that thought.
I can't stand Earl Grey. Give us English breakfast tea. Earl Grey's a bit.
I'm an Irish breakfast tea. Yeah, there's something it hits a little different. Now
Not
my
British.
favorite is
I need to get a Scottish.
when I spotted this in the store, I was absolutely amazed because at one point there was only one place you could get that, and that was Ashford Castle. And that is Bewley's Signature Gold Blend.
Oh, okay.
And you could only, they made the gold blend for Ashford Castle. And I fell in love with it when I stayed there.
Sure.
2011. It was after getting back from Afghanistan. Went to Ireland for 9 days. But that's my favorite black tea. Just
And I'm still waiting for my hat.
We've had this discussion on multiple occasions. I need your measurements. I never got them. If you're coming stateside, we can do this up. You just tell me what colors you want, and I'll fit you right there. I'll get that felt stretched out over that hat block.
I can send you my measurements.
Okay.
And then we'll get it going, because
you've been saying this for a long time, and I've never had anything materialized.
Just tell me what to do with the tape measure, and I'll do it. I promise.
Last time I told somebody that, they said,
"Will you now?"
Yeah.
Do go on, because I've heard a lot of talk, and never any follow through.
This is like a Carry On movie on here. Like, all of us, we've all missed being with each other. Do you know that? It's so nice to be back. We've all missed talking to
I know Jason. I know Jason has missed me.
He has.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little.
I can tell.
We were saying, Mal and I, where's Jason these days? He's never on Wicked Women. Where's he gone? Have we done something to upset?
I've been hiding.
Like I said, they can't say that I don't know how to make iced tea either.
Oh, Louisiana is some of the best for making iced tea. I can tell. Does it still come with the little ceramic animal figurine?
I don't think so.
Oh no, that's Red Rose. Red Rose does that. Louisiana's good. Try Red Rose.
Is that something I see in your mouth?
But, you know,
I've just seen a cigarette in your mouth.
Accidentally, yes. Yeah. No,
accidentally.
I will tell you. I will be perfectly honest. I'm staring at mine. It's been a little while.
But you know,
I tell
you
know that. Goodness me.
I finished my pack after mowing the lawn earlier, so I'm kind of like, I'm out.
Doing it, but he's, he was trying to do it so quietly.
Yes,
I'm kind of like,
the back.
I wonder if I could like do this.
Yeah. That's what I do. I just lean over out, but and I
my luck it was like,
hold on, I've got to go check something.
On fire.
Waiting with it. He just goes.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah,
there was a noise at the front door. I'll be back, guys.
That's the reason I always tell
I'm back.
The truth that we don't have to remember.
I think my signal's messing up. Let me.
Oh no, my camera froze.
No.
We've all missed each other because we've been going 10, 11, 12, 3.5 hours. That's really good, and it's so nice.
That's
to be
why
back.
I'm eyeballing my cigarettes. I'm like,
we're
just right there.
But you think about it, the after show is always better than what.
No. The show's good. The after show's got all the tidbits in it and all that.
It's it, but what I was going to say is with the American tea, I make it with too much sugar because every time I'm making my iced tea, I hear what's his name, Wilford Brimley. Let me contact you. Diabetes. And I'm like, and I could not find the other tea that Wendy had sent me over, like the chamomile and the stuff like that. And everybody's like, "You're drinking bitch tea." I was like, I'm like, I'll get you. Just let me. Oh, there's KB with the cigarette.
What are you eating, Jason?
Sunflower seeds or something. No.
Like pudding.
He's always got cakes. Oh my God. Every time I see Jason, he's got something in his mouth, and it's usually a cake or a donut or something like that. How come you have all the good stuff?
I don't know. I guess you'll just have to come over and I can share the good stuff with you.
Is it?
Now there's an offer.
Did I send you any of the Reese cups?
I've got
Did I
the
send you-
space. I can make the time.
Listen, honey, I'm just waiting for those flights to come down in price, right? Because
no,
as soon as they come down in price, I'm coming over. Like I'm bound, and then I want to come to you guys first, and then go on to Calgary, and then that's the plan. You know.
What do you want to go to Communist Canada for? We're
You don't
all
need to
there.
go to Canada. You don't need to. You don't need to get around that toxicity that they voted in. Don't.
Yeah, all the beta males.
I need to be adopted, or Val's got to marry me. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's legal in the
Hey,
Commonwealth.
look, if you want to do a green card marriage, I'm totally down for this.
Yeah.
We need to talk, Jason.
All right. You know, hey. All right, so that's 3 years a minimum. Okay, we can get past that. Like, I can get along with anybody for 3 years. So,
as long as you buy cake on a regular basis,
as long as I buy cake on a regular basis. Wendy, you come to St. Louis, I will take you over to the Donut Drive-In, which has like the oldest, best donuts in St. Louis.
What was it?
All right.
It was the K. What is it? There's a visa.
I'll get you set up. It'll be good.
What is it?
Well,
We'll make a cakes and snacks drawer.
If someone doesn't adopt me soon, like Val's got to marry me because we've already had the conversation, and she's like, "I'm taking one for the team."
What is it? The K. What is it? There's a K visa that you got to do.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I'm like, these people are pricks. I don't like these. You know, and you know
what with the Canadians?
No. The immigrant marriage visa is a K something another visa, and I looked at it and I'm like,
"Hi, Daniel."
I'm like, "Holy hell!" I'm like, this, and they go back and it's like, what's their eye color? What's their birthday?
What's my eye color?
It's like, yeah, I'm like, and they won't let you
look. It's hands with the red nail polish. No.
Yeah, but like I said, then it's like, and I was like, wow, these people are nosy. And they are. They've
got to establish a pattern of behavior there, and a pattern of connection.
They want to know if it's just, you know.
Look, as long as you haven't done anything, Wendy, that'll mess up my clearance, I'll totally do this. We'll work this out. I got it. I got space for you.
Clear security clearance on my side.
All right.
Yeah,
all right. There we go. You just hit me up. We'll get it knocked out.
I'm not hold you to that. I might hold you to that. Let me tell you.
Oh, right. Like I should hold you to getting a measurement so I can make you a hat.
I listen. On my defense, I forgot.
Can't be more honest than that. I forgot.
The thing is, Jason, I actually don't see you very often. You kind of pop on here and then you pop off, and you're on what's his name, Professor Bowers.
Yeah.
And you're on Body's show, and I'm like, well, you don't want to come back to my show?
Well, it's not that I don't want to come back to your show. It's just that I get doing stuff, and then by the time Sunday rolls around, I've been working on trying to do upkeep around the house or whatever, and it's like, oh shit, okay, because I get the notifications, and it's like, oh, I need to remember to do this, and then by the time I come back in from the garage or from whatever I'm working on, it's like, okay, I'll just have to play catch up with the catch up reel, and
but since he's seen Professor Bowers, I've been seeing some of his stuff lately.
Professor Bauer,
and I think he's went into like the mushroom guru or something. The hair's kind of got there. When I first seen him, his whole little studio with the guitars is always well kept, clean cut, and now you see him, I think he's driving around in a microbus smoking weed or something. I don't know.
Why you got to drag the microbus into this, man? What did it ever do to you?
I seen a school bus here a while back. It said "Love Bus," and I was looking and I was looking for him. Like I said, and Professor Bowers got a lot of love. And he's a smart guy. But like I said, but I saw last night talking about energy and crystals and healing, and I'm like, has he been to see Buddha?
Oh,
he studied a lot of that stuff.
I'm like, wow.
Daniel, thanks for the laughter. We are literally, it's been so long, we've had withdrawals from each other. Ken, what are you eating? Pizza.
Pie. That's pie.
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 I'm a
I
pie.
gotta do this. I gotta do
Oh.
it.
But
Okay.
but on a positive
He
note,
brings out a pizza.
You know, it
Uh,
actually is 12:30 at night here, and I cannot eat anything like that because my hips won't like
So-
it.
oh shit,
Here-
I like that.
Here's my latest build.
It's very sexy. Look at that.
Very
Can you
nice.
do it in black? Black is my color.
I want a black one.
So Wendy, this is the hey, get your stuff in.
Okay.
I thought you'd want to have like
Okay.
Melania wore during the inauguration, like V for Vendetta. I liked it with it pulled down over the eye. I thought they had pissed us one time.
The
But
the
did I-
wide brim one that he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
But did I send you over Reese cups? I cannot remember. It's been a while. Did I send you the
You
Reese
sent
cup?
You did send me them over. Yeah, you sent me lots of goodies, and the ones
Okay.
that last the longer was the sour something sweet.
The Sour Patch Kids.
Very
Sour
lovely.
Patch. Yeah,
And the
Sour
crisp.
Patch.
And then
Oh.
another recent one.
That's good
Ooh,
looking at. Oh,
That's-
that's more like an old
very
cavalry hat.
crispy.
Ken needs one of them. Ken's an
And-
old cowboy.
And the hat cord is actually from 1916. It's a Army field clerk hat cord, which is where
Really nice.
the Army warrant officer came from. The Army field clerk. So
We need to have a little link to
Yeah.
your page. You know, we need to have a little.
we need to
link
what?
A link to
I
your
don't have a
page.
page.
Well, you need
I
to
don't
have
have a-
one.
Yeah.
I
Put it on your
probably
link.
should.
As your future wife, I say you have to get a page.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm
What
just
is
saying.
it? Ipsy. What is it? What is it, Val? Where do you sell your
Oh,
skulls?
go.
Oh, I
Speaking
don't
of-
sell them anywhere yet.
You could
Just-
go like that with the mug,
Just me.
Val, couldn't you?
What?
I don't have one of the Wicked Women mugs. I really don't have one.
Yeah,
Just hold it up like this.
I have to go get one. Hold on.
Oh, and Val also makes the skulls for anybody who's
brilliant.
interested.
She's absolutely brilliant with her
Let me
stuff.
see. And it's got a pyramid inside the skull. And speaking of pyramids, let me get the one that broke my toe.
Ken, you've made me hungry now. I'm having breakfast cereal when I get off because it's going to bedtime and I don't want an inch on the hips. You know anymore.
What kind of breakfast cereal?
Well, I think it's going to have to be Rice Krispies.
Rice Krispies.
You need
That
to
is
learn.
not a breakfast cereal.
You need to learn this about me.
Yes, apparently, yeah, absolutely. That way, immigration. You know. All right, yeah, this guy knows her. Like, all right, there we
Yep.
go.
Yep.
Like-
and here is the pyramids with
That
the
is
skull
so
inside.
pretty, so pretty.
You put the light behind it, and did Jehovah's Quick said knock on your door and they see you got like pyramids of skulls and skulls of pyramids. They usually leave pretty quick.
Drum roll, Val. Drum roll. Ooh.
I have
There it is.
one made out of amethyst.
Who wouldn't want one of those to drink out of me and Val every day?
You know, that would be really cool as a black mug with a matte finish. I have.
We can do black. We can do
Yeah,
red.
See, Black
Virtually
Rifle
can
Coffee
both.
Company had these coffee cups. So there's like a semi-gloss finish
Yeah.
to it. And then instead of having the square picture, you could do where it's more like that it's individually cut out kind of things. And it would
Cool.
pop. Yeah.
Well, this is the old one anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'd like
Right.
one. Can I have one, please?
She said,
Sure,
"Can she please have a wicked cup?"
And she's
Throw a
got, this
wicked cup of
wonderful
coffee.
picture,
Of you anyway.
she's got that wonderful picture of Henry that I have to come over and pick up.
Yeah. Poor Henry. I mean, Henry should be on the couch behind her.
I have a box of stuff me and my girls are trying to send you, but we haven't been able to send it yet.
And I still
Listen,
have all the Pioneer Women stuff too.
drives me mad about people. Either do it or don't, because if I say to you I'm going to send you stuff, I box it up, I'll send it. I box it up,
Well,
I'll send it.
I
We
have
haven't
had
got everything
no
that we're
measurements
thinking yet.
boxed up and sent to me. All right,
And-
so
and that's-
don't
and that's-
let Wendy sell you this bill of goods, and she's just gonna send it.
I'm sorry, Victor. I'm so sorry.
I've got and I need to get with Val and get all the Pioneer Women stuff put too, because I still have all the Pioneer Women, all the Basset Hound stuff here.
Good job, I know you so well.
And the Yellowstone plates, and I still need to find the Yellowstone plates at Walmart.
Well, I want those Yellowstone plates, please.
And like I said,
Keep
I got
them
a
though.
box.
Don't send them for
Like from the TV show Yellowstone.
Yeah, they got four. Yeah, they got 4 different patterns. They're all.
I wanted the one that's what's his name? I forgot his
Rip.
name.
Rip.
Rip.
Why in the world? Here's what, you know what? Of all the things that we all talk about on this show and you guys talk about on this show and everything, why in the world do so many women just do like the pull the panties and the bra off and throw it on stage reaction about the most toxic relationships on the face of the planet?
It's
that is very toxic.
because they're looking
I've never
at Rip.
seen Yellowstone, so I don't know.
Rip and what's her name? Everybody's like, oh, Harley Quinn and Joker. It's like, no, dude, no.
Rip is he's a fine looking man.
But he was a shit actor. All the roles.
He's a murderous bastard.
that takes him to the train station.
Right? And he does love her. He does love her.
Yeah, because he's goofy, but okay. And she gets naked in the horse trough and shows. But she's actually better in the show Britannica it's Britannica.
Yeah, she's a druid. Princess.
Yeah. She's actually better in that show than in Yellowstone. But
we've lost KB. Look.
KB went to get.
Probably went to go get more pizza.
I know. I'm so hungry now.
But I was thinking.
What?
You had Stormer come over to the White House and all this, and you have these other people come in, and it ends in a fight, and nobody's mad. If they would take simple people that leave common lives to sit down to sort out the world politics, the world would be a peaceful place. Or more. Are
you kidding me, dude? Do you understand how many world problems me and like my coworkers solve in the smoke pit at work on a break?
Pretty much. That's it. Yeah.
All we need to do is put an actual smoke pit outside of Congress. All right.
The White House. Yeah.
And the White House. All right. And the Supreme Court stuff. And just, all right, everybody. I don't care if you do smoke. I don't care if you don't smoke or if you vape. Somebody's inhaling something while they're down here and we're talking about this crap. I don't know what it is about the smoke pit, but literally you can solve the world's problems in the smoke pit with like a conversation between like 8 people. And then it never happens.
But
just saying.
What's crazy?
Make the smoke pit great again.
If you go to the White House, wear a fucking suit. If you go to the smoke pit, bring your own.
Sure.
Yeah, bring your own smokes. BOS,
Ken,
bring your own.
Are you smoking? Are you smoking a fag?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm about to burn a fag up.
Yeah. Hey, you can say that
Not
word
to
and
burn
go
one
later.
up.
We can say that here because it's like.
Why are you talking about sticks and bundles of sticks, Wendy?
Well, smoking a fag.
Yeah,
right.
Smoking a fag.
Yeah. That's where it comes from, though.
Or weed. Or weed. Yeah. What
faggot
was it?
Literally means bundle of sticks, which is how a pack of cigarettes gets.
To be fair, fag normally comes from faggot, and faggot is something that we eat over here as well. But it just has a lot of
milk that I would not be having in the UK.
Smoke fag in Virginia. I mean, you go to jail for that. You can't burn.
No.
We're just discussing etymology, KB. That's all we're doing. We're discussing etymology.
But most people don't know how to read
that. Words.
What is it? What is that dictionary? That comes from the UK. The big dictionary they put out every year.
Oxford.
Oxford. Yeah, the Oxford dictionary. If they cannot read it. But most people who get pissed off and offended about things, most of the time they don't know proper English anyway. I know I butcher it on a daily basis.
I can tell you this much. The most people who do bitching about things like the Constitution and various titles and United States codes haven't read them.
Well, I think you should all start a GoFundMe up and all put something in and get me over there. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm your cousin. Come on.
Don't put it that way, Wendy.
No, I just thought about that.
I was
Don't put it
waiting
that
on
way.
that one.
Don't put it that way. That just makes it weird for me.
Yeah, no. All right, I'm your
Okay, kissing cousin.
I thought I had my pocket constitution here, but I don't.
yeah, like
Kissing
seriously, you should
cousin.
find me and all put something in and get my flight because they're like 400 to 600 quid right now.
What's the exchange rate right now? Is it what 1.5 to 1?
It's not
Hey
great.
Google, what is the exchange rate
Or is it higher
between
than
the US
that?
dollar and the sterling pound?
$1 is approximately 74 pence.
74 pence. So
See,
$1.
I'm desperate to leave here. It's like start
Sorry,
a GoFundMe.
I don't
Get me over
understand.
there.
Can
So,
make it
yeah.
happen.
So
Yeah.
so
Well,
so we
Call
lose
me.
a quarter. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You don't
otherwise-
have the stones for it. Not only that, you haven't sent me your. You're not going
Be surprised, buddy, what I have the stones for. Let's put it this way: I don't think you got the stones for it yourself because be careful what you wish for. You might just get it.
Um,
All right, there we go. Look out.
Yep. Otherwise, Val's in trouble. She's gonna.
hey, I'm ordained. I can marry in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So
Tell me
we
that
can,
would
we
be
can have
the
we can
most
have
open
the wicked
relationship
women green card marriage ceremony officiated by
hey, I've done a whole lot worse things illegally, but anyway.
Yeah, he can marry us. Michael can marry us.
It's it. I'm ordained. I can marry in the Commonwealth. Yeah.
Val, listen, if I get out there, girl, get the dress on. We're doing it.
That's it. Hey,
Do you Val take Wendy and do Wendy take Val? I do. She does.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, if that's the case, I will go on the honeymoon with y'all.
honeymoon. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Naughty.
Yeah, but no, it's I tell people that and they're like, "How did you get ordained?"
I'm just saying.
$35.
Oh, you're so funny. Honestly.
You just go online and get ordained at this point. That's
That's what I'm
pretty
saying.
easy to
Online,
do.
yeah, online $35 because I was.
They don't y'all days. I'm not going on honeymoon with them. That's all. I'm not asking for
Say
much.
again, over.
I'm not asking for much.
When
What
we
is
do
it?
the
What?
interview and they go, Val, why did you want to marry Wendy? And she'd be like, right. And I love her. And I'll be like, she's got good boobs, right? I couldn't
Yeah, but,
all the way over from the Atlantic. I was like, get me some of that.
Why?
Ladies,
Because we both wanted to get penalized for filing taxes together because we love taxes
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Oh my God, listen, I could talk to you guys all night, but I better go. It's 20 to 1. And I know that we could carry this on. It's been so much fun, guys. I've absolutely enjoyed it. And I know that Ken will be back tomorrow, hopefully, in the daytime. Won't you, Ken? Tomorrow. And Val and I will be back next Sunday. And etc. Just watch this space. Thank you so much for joining us on Wicked Women. I hope that you've enjoyed watching Val and myself and learning all about controlling relationships because they suck.
The people
And Val,
sucks.
I'll leave Val to literally come up with the final words. Val, off you go. And Michael, thank you so much for joining us, honey. And the lovely Jason, my future husband, obviously. Thank you for very much. Thank you for joining us.
Please come back and see us next Saturday again. I mean, next Sunday, excuse me. Me next Saturday. Us next Sunday.
I don't even know if I'm playing the right music as we go out, Val. Keep going.
I do want to wish everyone, all the dads out there, a happy Father's Day over here and across the pond, too.
Mhm.
Yes.
Being a dad will give you gray hair. Look at me and
We
KB.
do,
You ain't
we
wrong.
do appreciate you all coming and spending this time with us, and hopefully we'll see you next Sunday.
Right, you guys, if you just want to stay put, just while I do the titles, that would be great. We'll see you next week. Have a great week. Take care of yourself and each other. Let's hope this is the right music.
Bye.